within a room I can do. Brighter day for me and you. The best part of waking up is in your cup.
Ladies and gentlemen, right back at it again, and trying to work our way through the situation. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newsroom, and welcome to the Galtopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the pseudo snort report until I come up with a name for certain reports, I guess, that are off topic, but this does have something to do with DSP, kind of. But you know what I mean. Brought to you by SnortBucks Coffee Company, though. The best beverage company. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you guys are doing well. As you know, we're working our way through the list. As we are working our way through the list, we're working our way towards the quarterly meeting, and then I'm working my way towards my hiatus/vacation, however you want to call it. So, yeah. Trying to get that complete, and then though there should be at least some content over my hiatus while I'm gone over here. The second channel is definitely going to get a lot, but over here there'll definitely be something for you guys until I return, which hopefully will be right before the holidays and whatnot, and then we can make that happen. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do something that I've been kind of waiting to do for a while, and realistically this should have been one of the earlier videos or broadcasts that should have gone out, depending on where I'm at on the list. I don't actually know, because the list is a lot smaller now, and I don't know what's been published or what hasn't. But anyway, we're going to go over the ReviewtechUSA Wings of Redemption interview, as I also like to call when Richard meets Richard, or Solid Richard meets Liquid Richard, if you will. I think I saw that in the comment section or something, but I thought it was funny. This right here, to be honest with you, is going to be, if any of you guys who are Wings of Redemption enthusiasts, you're going to hear some discrepancies. For some of you who I've only watched some of my Wings reports, which those will come back, or I'm going to have some type of situation where I mix up old Dark Side Phil content with Wings content. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do that yet, but something along those lines will happen. There'll be some amalgamation of Wings content eventually. You've been prefaced on a little bit of this, but not all of it. Wings' history is actually rather vast, to be honest with you. It's not as interesting as DSP's as a whole, because DSP lies about every goddamn thing, and he does it every couple of years on what his backstory is. So you have to kind of keep up with shit to get to the truth. Wings lies about like petty shit, like petty stupid shit that you could easily look back up. Which is what it comes down to. So before we get into this, let's start prefacing stuff. This all came out of a video that Rich did, because something Wings said or did, which was probably stupid, ended up getting a lot of attention. ReviewtechUSA did a video on it. I didn't see a need to preface you guys with that video, to be honest. And then if I ever need to do something else that has anything to do with these two, then we can go over it, but I didn't feel the need to. Where basically he was saying, hey, Wings, you need to stop this, so on and so forth, which Rich wasn't wrong. Wings ends up taking it bad because allegedly he was fed bad information, or Wings was just not in the best headspace or off his meds or whatever the case was, and that led to these guys yelling at each other back and forth, which was already pathetic enough as it was. And then somewhere down the line, they decided to square it up and go ahead and come on to the Exposed podcast, which is the name of Rich of ReviewtechUSA's podcast. Now, to be honest with you, for Rich, this if I was ReviewtechUSA, you're striving to do something. And that something should be you're trying to get the trifecta of lolcows. Let me explain. Do you guys want to know what the trifecta is? I'm sure most of you guys who have followed me for any period of time know what that is. If you don't, or at least gaming lolcows, then here we go. The trifecta of lolcows comes down to 3 people who are prominent in their own way and also enormous trash fucking fires. Which would be Wings of Redemption, Call of Duty background, which is pristine, and had some prominence to it. He fucked it up over the last couple years, but it was something. It was something to be respected. But Wings of Redemption, Dark Side Phil, which is garbage, always has been garbage, always will be garbage. Or has always been toxic and an absolute fucking joke. And then Low Tier God. Low Tier God has to be the third one out of the 3, who is the new trash fire, so to speak. Even though he just does really dumb shit, to be honest with you, to put himself in a fucking terrible situation. But his trolls, haters, critics, and so on and so forth are as dedicated as any of the other 3, or the 2, I should say. So it is what it is. So when you so that's the if I was rich, that's who I'm working towards. Those are the 3 people who I want to be able to interview. He's got wings. He's never going to get DSP because Rich knows way too much about DSP's history. He could call him out on a lot of his bullshit. I don't know how much of that he's willing to take the cucumber on to make Phil feel better just to get on his podcast or not. Couldn't tell you. You got to speak to him on that. But I'm sure I'll give Rich at least this much credit. He should be smart enough to know that anything that he's willing to give up to Phil will take even more than that, which makes the interview basically obsolete. It makes it useless. So he'd be wasting his goddamn time doing it. Just my opinion, of course. And Low Tier God definitely is going to want to be compensated for his time. For sure. For sure. And Low Tier God doesn't exactly like heavy-setted people, so that might not be something that'll work in his benefit either which way. But Rich has numbers on his side, so Low Tier God may take a concession for that. I couldn't tell you. If they did the interview, I'd definitely watch it. But let's talk about the 2 pieces of ham hock that are in front of us now. So with Wings, as it pertains to the Wings report, if any of you guys have watched any of my things on that, I hold some point of respect for Wings. Sadly, the Wings I hold respect for no longer really exists, to be honest with you. He died a long time ago. That's a harsh thing to say too, by the way, but the sad part is it's true. He doesn't have the gun skill anymore. He doesn't have the mindset. That person just no longer really exists. The person who's left has given up. He's given up on everything. He's too scared to get a real job, and he's too afraid of walking away from whatever money he makes now to go and get that real job. He's kind of stuck in this cycle of he hates what he does wholeheartedly, in a way, and he does it with an honesty that DSP never could. At the same time, though, too, he can't leave it. He's been in the nest too long. He shitted up his own nest too long that there's nowhere else for him to go. It's a really depressing type of situation. So when you watch the troll channels, you should definitely appreciate them because, Jesus Christ, they make it palatable. More so than Dark Side Phil in a lot of ways. A lot of people, you see the comment in the comment section for a lot of detractor stuff, they can't watch Dark Side Phil raw. No one really wants to handle raw bacon. That's why people have an appreciation for SnortBucks, Mighty D, and Almighty Tevin, LSB, and all those, so on and so forth. James the Lesser, Agent Proper, and the list goes on and on. Robin Zeppa. People love and appreciate those individuals because they deal with the product and they make it palatable. Wings is definitely hard to take if you sat there and just went through his live stream. It's a war of fucking attrition doing that nonsense. So you need the detractor channels to kind of bring it together and make it easier to deal with. Eventually, whether we go into, I decide to start the Wings report back up, which I'd like to. There's certainly individual videos that I'd like to go over and try to give you guys a story on, or like a pork and wings type situation. I'll start listing some of the guys who I watch down in the description next to the detractors, on the DSP side so you guys can get a feel for it. If you guys are interested in that. Just remember, it's a slow burn, so keep that in mind. But sadly, the Wings of Redemption that I know, or I was introduced to, and so on and so forth, no longer exists. What you have now is the man who's broken. He doesn't have the money, he doesn't have the prestige, and he has lost his own self-worth. You know what I mean? He lost the fight, if you will. And he lost the fight not because he kept getting beat down, it's because, sadly, he's too scared to get up. He's too scared to get up and take a hit. And though, as I said earlier on in this, you have to give him respect for engaging against his trolls. His trolls are relentless. Like, they are absolutely fucking ruthless. And they're not going to stop. You know what I mean? And Wings can't really afford to stop. And in a lot of ways, he's too scared to stop. Which is why he's at where he's at now. In any case, though, we'll talk about that further. But know this, that Wings of Redemption once was somebody. As I've said before, he was something of a kingmaker in the Call of Duty community, kind of, sort of. You know what I'm saying? He was someone who, he gave a lot of people opportunities. He gave a lot of people a look. A lot of people argue that PKA wouldn't be where it's at if it wasn't for Wings. If PKA had to start over from scratch and Wings wasn't there, it wouldn't be what it was. It was built off his name. Theoretically, it still is, the way they still keep taking shots at him. But it is what it is. Kyle feels a certain type of way. You would think Kyle, after all these years, and no disrespect to Kyle, by the way, but you would think Kyle, after all these years, would, whatever transgressions he's had with Wings, you'd be willing to let that go. You would just think that, you know what I'm saying? You would think you'd be done and over with that. Maybe he is. Maybe Wings is just an easy target. Maybe he isn't over it. I don't know. But, you know, it doesn't, after a while, like, doesn't it just get old? You know what I'm saying? And when I mean get old, I mean, it's not like, haha, we're laughing at this guy and it kind of gets tiring. No, do you get tired of just going at that guy full force? You're punching something that can't punch you back. At least not anymore. You're just hitting the punching bag every day. Nothing's going to come out of it. So you're not picking any real fights. You're not even trying to get Wings into a real fight. You're just hitting a bag that won't hit you back. Doesn't that get, I mean, how long until you accept the fact that you've already won? But yet again, like I said, Kyle's known him a lot longer. If Kyle has feel like he's been betrayed or slighted or whatever the case may be, you can't tell another man to let go of a situation that he isn't ready to let go of. At the end of the day, every man has to know when to put his toys away. End of story. And I don't mean that with any disrespect. That could be said for any detractor. To be honest with you, after a while, and sooner than later, we're all going to put our toys away so somebody else can play with it. End of story. So just something to think about. Not to say that Kyle's in anybody's way. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Exposed, Episode 11, Wings of Redemption. This was published on March 27th of 2020 on the ReviewtechUSA YouTube channel. Let's get into the situation. We'll find out what's what. I would assume there's going to be, as I told you, there's discrepancies. I haven't seen this in a very long time, but there are discrepancies. I'll point out what I can. Other than that, we'll be listening and learning together, because that's always fun. And, yeah. I would say, and you know, the usual catchphrase of, I don't smell no bacon cooking. We can't really do that. So consider this, ladies and gentlemen, an all-you-can-eat wings buffet with, instead of celery, with dipping sauce, it'll be slithers of cucumber, slightly salted. That sounds about right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you guys in just a second. Strap in.
The Exposed podcast is available on iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and Podbean. Links below in the description.
You're exposed. You're exposed. You are exposed. Exposed, 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 exposed. You are exposed, sir. I'm going to expose you. Expose you. Oh my God, expose you. Expose.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Rich of the Exposed Podcast, and I have a very special guest that at first was not going to come on, and then he actually came to me wanting to come on, which I think is a very good thing to do. I think it's a step in the right direction. Wings of Redemption, what's up, pimp?
Hey, I don't know. I don't remember being invited.
Yeah, you were. You were invited, or were you? That's
I don't
a
think
damn-
you were.
Oh boy. Well, this was worse than I remember. This is going to start off. This has started off rather special, ladies and gentlemen. We're here with ReviewtechUSA Exposed, episode 11, Wings of Redemption. This was published on March 27th of 2020, our current year of gout. Okay. As I said a little bit before about how this whole thing came about, Rich made a video. Wings I don't know why Wings kind of went about it the way he did, but he did. Led to them bitching and complaining like some situation you might find Keemstar doing with anybody at any given time. Back and forth on Twitter, and then eventually this situation came about. Now, so I guess the main problem is, how do you forget that you invited someone onto your podcast? How does that work? That's our first issue. Second issue is Liquid Richard versus Solid Richard. Very well, these two could have been brothers at one time, or another. And like I said, I don't know if I'll ever see it during my detractor career, but I don't think you'll ever see ReviewtechUSA, Wings of Redemption, and DSP on the same podcast. I wouldn't think so. Now, in the DSP universe, in the universe of lolcows, because all three of them are lolcows, and don't ever think anything different, ladies and gentlemen. It could happen. Anything could happen, to be honest. But I wouldn't expect it. Now, with that being said, real quick, this has been asked of me before. Why is it that I put Rich from ReviewtechUSA up there with our boy Richard, and with Phil or Dark or Dave, Dark Geppetto, whatever you want to call him? Why do I consider him a lolcow just like the other two? Because he is. Because he's done some of the exact same things that these guys have done. Especially when it comes to his haters, trolls, critics, and so on and so forth. He's done some of the exact same shit. He hasn't done all of it, and he may have not even done it to the extent with some of those things, but he's done a lot of it. And he fell for a lot of bullshit that didn't need to fall for, and he put himself in a real shitty situation. With that being said, you guys knew that I had been working on, and I was able to find a series and put up that had to do with Rich. Some things came to light that we didn't expect, which caused us to take it down. Eventually, in some way, shape, or form, it might go back up. It is what it is. We'll see about that. If not, I can always make a community post and direct you guys to it. I think I have one of the better quality mirrors out there, but I know I'm not the only one, so we'll see. But eventually, something along those lines will happen, because people should see it. People should see the nonsense that Rich has done over the years, and some of the shit that he's done to his detractors, trolls, haters, and critics to get them off his back, which has to do with getting videos taken down, having deplatforming people, or at least having YouTube channels taken down. Like, there's a lot of people out there who are still around who can tell you some of the stories. Rich can't sit there and lecture and or lord over anybody when he's done some of the exact same shit. He fell into some of the exact same traps, sometimes easier than the other two. So, don't think that the Cucumber King is over Lord Wings or the King of Snorts, because he's not. He's not. They all three of them reign in their own kingdoms in their own way, but they damn sure use some of the same strategies and tactics. Don't let nobody tell you different. And there's plenty of it out there if you want to find out. There really is. So I can't say that he's any better than the rest. Is he obviously more successful than the other two? Sure. I wouldn't take that away from him. DSP begs for a living. Wings is teetering on the boogie type aspect of whether he wants to keep going or if he wants to give up. I mean, yeah, Rich is probably in the better position out of all of them. Then again, he made decisions early on in his situation that set him behind. A lot of his sponsorships got fucked over because he did bad business. So when you see how he treated some people that came later, you can understand why shit fell apart. You know what I mean? Like, if you go back and watch Rich's old shit, he'd been with Dollar Shave Club for a long ass time. There's no reason why he's still not with Dollar Shave Club or with the Beard Shave Club thing, which either James the Lesser or Agent Proper need to jump on that, but I think both of them have shaved their beards off, so rip to that. But it's something to keep in mind, gentlemen, or anybody out there who has a beard. What other advantages? I don't know if the people who do like the Sasquatch like bar stuff, if they do anything, but Rich should have jumped on that. Like, Rich had a bunch of sponsorships early on. He had a bunch of sponsorship opportunities, I should have said. And he squandered them away, or some of his behaviors ended up being a deficit to him in one way, shape, or form. Sadly, it is what it is. Is there more details to it? I'm sure there are. You know what I mean? But what was presented publicly kind of tells the story. At the end of the day, you would think for someone who has watched as much DSP as he has, he would know better. So him lecturing other people on shit seems a bit hypocritical. But whatever is whatever. Let's go ahead and get into the situation. First couple of rounds of the wings are on me. I would recommend the barbecue teriyaki, the garlic parmesan, which are always delicious, and what do we have? And spicy Korean, just to start us off. Not fried though, so keep that in mind.
I don't think you ever invited me.
Okay. No, what happened was yes, you're right. You blocked me. I wanted to invite you even before the video. Then after I made the video, you blocked me and I couldn't get in contact. I had no way. I actually asked people to get in contact with you. They may have tweeted at you. So maybe that's what I was thinking.
I'm very hard to get in contact with, but that's, I mean, like, you experienced some of the shit. I've lost your video, by the way, but you experienced some of the things I deal with.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So what made you want to come on?
Hold up.
First things first. No, Wings. He hasn't dealt with some of the shit that you've dealt with. Don't get me wrong. Rich has gone through his fair share of shit. Absolutely. But he hasn't had it as bad as you have. Not at all. Not at all. So no, he hasn't really experienced what you've experienced. I don't know if there's anybody who can say they've had it worse than Wings of Redemption as it pertains to some of the more prominent lolcows. I don't know if they could go. Not every one of them could say that. Rich certainly hasn't. Has he had it rough? I'm sure he has. A lot of that by his own doing, of course. But no, I can't say that. I can't say that he's gone through what you've gone through. That's not fair to say at all. Not even close.
Before we get into that, like, I lost you on video. Are you still getting your video?
Am I still getting what? Yes, I'm getting video. Yeah, I'm still getting video.
Okay, because I lost. It doesn't show to me no more. Okay. Let's start with the video that you made on me first.
Okay.
And the reason I reacted the way I reacted was, one, I was getting my information through a dubious source, which were basically internet trolls. Okay. And two, I was kind of frustrated that day. Like, I had a lot of things going wrong at the same time, and it was like one more piece of straw to put on the camel's back.
Well, we'll continue, then I'll say what I was going to say.
Well, and that's pretty much why I reacted the way I reacted, and I kind of took it back really quickly, because, like, after you sit down and think about things, it's like, all right, yeah, you're right. You know, it's...
Because that was the thing. I was like, why is he getting so pissed? Like, the only thing I did when it was a joke, and look, rip me a new asshole every day, is I said, ban anyone who says, I think, ReviewtechUSA in the beginning. The rest, I mean, I criticized you for saying what you shouldn't do, is that if people aren't giving me a certain amount of money in the stream, then what the hell am I doing this for? I still don't agree that you should do that. You know, we could get more into that.
Well, that's almost strictly for Call of Duty. Like, people keep leaving that part out.
Yeah, but
Like, I don't want to play Call of Duty. And when I play Call of Duty, it's for people in the stream. And it's like,
It's for
I understand
people
you
who
should.
know him for playing Call of Duty. Now, to be honest with you, as it pertains to Wings' streaming, I guess you could say he's really more of a Rainbow Six player, even though his gunplay is shit. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna call it what it is. Fuck all the bullshit. His gunplay is shit. So when you have Liquid Richard, who has an album, I think it's called Carry to Diamond, it kind of makes sense because his gunplay is garbage. Is he a decent coach? Maybe. But I wouldn't say that he's someone who can facilitate. He'll sit there and tell you everything that you did wrong after the fact, but he makes bad plays himself. He puts himself in a position where he gets murked early, not all the time, but more often than not, that it makes you question what his skills are. His gun skill isn't very good, though. And you would think for all the years he's played Call of Duty, you know what I'm saying, something that's kind of a twitch shooter, a very reactionary shooter, it'd be better. But he's slow to process, which is weird. Like, you know what I'm saying? And maybe because it forces him to think on the fly. Whereas when Wings used to play Call of Duty, he's primarily a camper. It's something that he's been trying to shrug over the years, but who gives a fuck? Like, he succeeded at it. As I've said before, as it pertains to Wings, he's played against some of the best and beaten them. You know what I mean? You're talking about someone who has taken on, back in the day when it meant something. He had taken on damn near entire teams and beat them. You know what I mean? Like, he put himself in a position and basically dared them to try to get him out. And they couldn't. And he basically grind them down slowly but surely. Just it was like watching someone slaughter wave after wave after waves and insert game here. Like, Wings was really a good camper. The thing is he couldn't just accept that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't comfortable with being called a camper. You know what I mean? It bothered him and it annoyed him. And then, and you'll find that in some of his old videos, he used to do kind of sort of like how-to videos, or at least he would explain to you what he's doing and what his mindset is. So once fans or just other viewers got into games with him, they used his own tactic against them. And he didn't like it. You know what I mean? Which, it's whatever. It's whatever. But Wings isn't strong at running and gunning. He's not a rusher. You know what I mean? He's a camper, or he's an AR anchor. He's never been a strong suit for him to be a rusher or be a point man or anything like that. And to be honest, to some degree, Rainbow Six kind of requires you to do that. It requires you to be more and do more than just play one position. And Wings isn't exactly great with that. He's someone who needs to cement himself into a situation. He needs time to set up, and then he's ready. When doing this on the fly, no. I don't even know why he started even picking up this game. I almost wonder why, I don't know if he did or not, but I almost wonder why he didn't play like CSGO first. And then maybe go into this. But his aim is completely off. It's nowhere where it should be. Especially playing at the caliber that he is. Hence the reason why he has to keep rotating teammates out. You know what I mean? Because he's so reliant on his teammates now that he can't get shit done, which is, you would say, a detractor meme. But it's true. You know what I'm saying? But it's true. It's really amazing how... It's not amazing, because I guess when it comes to mental health, you see this a lot. Some of you may have seen this within people in your own social circles or families or whatever, but once he had that breakdown, excuse me, once he had his breakdown, he lost everything with that. He lost everything. And all he has left are just pieces. And he's trying really, really hard to put it together, but at the same time, he's not really trying hard to put it together. He's kind of accepted that it's all pieces and it'll never be something. And he doesn't want to rebuild. You know what I mean? So he's just kind of holding on to these fragments, almost hoping that he can make something out of this. And it's instead of just starting over. And there's nothing wrong with that. Since you're already stuck doing this, you might as well go ahead and unlearn everything that you've known and try again from scratch. And there are plenty of FPS shooters out there to do so. I say, or first-person shooters. And the reason why I say that is because that's what brings in the viewership. When he plays stuff like Dark Souls or anything else, he doesn't get the viewership. He doesn't have the viewership, nor does he get the contributions. The troll tips will always be there. But he doesn't get the contributions that a first-person shooter like Call of Duty or Rainbow Six will bring in. CS:GO maybe, because at one time when it comes to streaming, Wings was one of the most viewed Rainbow Six streamers on PS4, I believe. So he has that, he has that accolade, if that means anything. But at the same time, though, too, this is also someone who says that when you play against mouse and keyboard players, that, they're cheating. It's not really cheating. He's just at a disadvantage, and so on and so forth. There's a lot that goes into this. But just to give you guys an idea.
Didn't do it, but I'm like, all right, I don't want to play this. I don't want to be here. I want nothing to do with this. So if I'm going to do this, at least make it worth my time.
Yeah, but it makes, dude, what it comes off as, though, is that you seem ungrateful. As a person who streams, and the revenue from each stream is like either, it's all over the place. Some streams I make pennies, some streams I do well. You say that it gives the people that hate you ammunition to go after you more. You get what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but I look at it this way. They're going to go after me regardless.
That's not true.
It is true.
They will come at him regardless. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like they're not mindless drones in that are going to attack him for no reason. But it has been demonstrated to some degree that these guys are on a pretty consistent schedule on watching Wings and his movements when it comes to being on stream. Real life in IRL, I couldn't tell you. I've heard stories. I've heard some interesting stories, but I can't really corroborate with any of that. But when you look at the flow of content and how consistent it comes out, they've got him dead to rights. It's to the point now where Wings may not even realize this, but Wings streams when his detractors, trolls, haters, and critics, when they want him to stream. He may not even realize it, but they control his streaming schedule, not him, to some degree. I know it sounds egregious, but it may very well be true. So it doesn't matter really what Wings does. He'll get hit for something. It is what it is. It's the life of a lolcow. There's no escaping it. You know what I mean? There's no escaping it. So it is what it is.
Dude.
Like, for example, like when I got on Lexapro, like I calmed way the fuck down. I calmed really, really down. Like I don't know if you remember seeing all those videos of like me in World War II, where it's like subscribe, donate, get the fuck out, and like every other day was like a meltdown. That's because I have a chemical imbalance in my brain, and I needed medication I wasn't taking. And once I went on Lexapro, a lot of that calmed down, and like. It's been like a year and a half of people trying to have the next like emotional breakdown where I sound like a puppy. And like that's what people are trying to get. They're trying to push buttons to get me back to that point, which they can't because my body makes serotonin now via medication.
As a dude who's on Lexapro.
I understand that. Trust me, and I'm sure they do too. But Wings has been pushed to the brink. Jordy, whatever. Wings, Jordy. If I call him by a bunch of different things, I'm Richard. You know what I'm saying? I'm referring to Wings for the most part. They've pushed him to the brink. Like they really have. Like his trolls are very, very fucking good at what they do. Like, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if I can express it to you enough that Wings' trolls, like, they're entrenched. Like, these people are dedicated to what they do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially with the situation that happened in the World War II one, when he really freaked out and shit. Who was that? Was that Webby? I think the dude who ended up turning on him was Webby. And Webby had been a long-time supporter. Webby had been around. He had put in his time. He has his stripes. You know what I'm saying? He's been through some shit with Wings. And I can't remember what Wings did to him, but I'm sure Wings did something. And then, Webby was kind of the straw to break the back on that. And that's when Webby was trolling his ass and shit. these guys got him broken to the point. Like, I've seen, and you can go back, like, I think it was like 2019 maybe. It might have been late 2019. Wings has fucking streams where they pushed him so far that he had to run and get his medication. Like, you know what I mean? He was like, he was almost desperate to get the fucking, you know, the lid off the bottle to get ready to take it. If they can get you there when you're on it, if you don't quit the stream, then guess what? You got to sit there and endure. And eventually you're going to snap sooner than later. I'm not saying that they're trying to drive him to anything drastic, but I'm glad that he has faith in the medication, but they don't care. Wings is in a perfect storm he's in the perfect storm that no lolcow wants to be in, because he has lolcows that are not only sophisticated but dedicated. They have a way of trolling him. They have the means to disseminate the information. They have active members who are willing to take up shifts, air quotes. It's not like their work. They have lives and shit, but they have guys who are willing to facilitate. They have people that are loyal to the cause. It's almost like a small army that are willing to do what needs to be done to achieve the goals for the day. You know what I mean? It's all there. There is a fucking machine that works around Wings of Redemption that he can't beat. And he's not even fighting against the machine anymore. He's merely part of it. And he can deny it all he wants, but he knows what I'm saying is true. He's merely part of that machine. He can't do anything else. Harsh, yes, but that's the truth. That's how much control that they have. And Wings is all on his own. Because even Wings' boys, the people who he streams with every once in a while, or people he's still close to, they've taken some backlash, or i.e. some of that shit has spilled over on them. They didn't abandon Wings. I give them credit for that. But after a while, it's kind of like with people who used to be associated with DSP. After a while, you got to throw your hands up and be like, Jesus Christ, man. You know what I'm saying? They have him. They have him. I don't know if they have him locked in such a way like with Chris Chan. If any of you guys have followed Chris Chan, you know that you're not piercing that. You're not piercing that circle. Like, they've got him pretty much. I'm not saying Wings is to that level, but they got him pretty close. Like, they got him pretty close. So when you see Wings depressed and whatnot, it kind of makes some sense. It's a combination of his own failures and him having all these people turned against him, and knowing, without a shadow of a doubt, ladies and gentlemen, knowing that he turned those people against him.
Too, I understand. See, the thing is, though, is that you still respond to a degree from what I see. And this is not me watching. I've watched your streams. This isn't because look, man, I get compilations made about me. I know what they're trying to do. I understand how it is, where they just take the worst of you, or they take something out of context and try to flip it. You still respond, though. Why do you
calculated responses?
But the calculated responses are still
right
feeding them.
Right, but like here's where I'm torn at, right? One hand, I get kickback from troll channels.
Okay. I'm glad we brought this up. First thing about the responding to your trolls, haters, and so on and so forth. You have to. Rich does it still. You know what I mean? He may not be as loud about it, but he still do it. Obviously DSP do it, and obviously Wings do it. Shit, fucking Low Tier God does it. They all do, and they have to. They have to, because after a while, that shit either works your nerve or it works your ego, and all these guys got egos. Excuse me. And at the end of the day, you're only going to let somebody, or even a small group of people, sit there and shit on you for so long, which is the bait. It's always one or two people that are just being annoying. You go ahead and start engaging with them, and then that's when the rest of the people, that's when a few more show up, and a few more show up, and then that shit starts to turn into the Mongols and shit, and now you're fucked. Same concept. They can't help but do it. It's like a mosquito, if you will. It's like the mosquito analogy. You know what I'm saying? You know that it jumps, it gets on you, it hits you. You try to slap it, which you shouldn't do that. You should actually flick it instead of slapping it. But anyway, it gets on you, it's buzzing around you or whatever. You get annoyed with it. After a while, it finally lands on you. It bites you. You know you shouldn't scratch it, but you're gonna scratch it. You're gonna be like, all right, I'll just 1 or 2 scratches, no big deal. That one now you're starting to get the irritation from it because you've already scratched it like a dumbass and you shouldn't have done it. Now you're scratching it a little more. Now you're scratching a little more. Next thing you know, you're full blown and the damn thing is red. Same concept. Same fucking concept. They can't. They have to. It just works the nerves and it works their ego. At the end of the day, they can't do it. And they can justify it however which way they want to, but they still got to do it. Now, the part that's actually kind of interesting, and I've been looking into a little bit, and I'd like to know more if this is even true. But this whole concept he has about his haters or his trolls or whatever do kickbacks. Now, plenty of names have been thrown. He's thrown out plenty of names, I should say. He said people, Sean Ranklin, he may have been joking about that. He may have said Lean. And then you got a whole new group of guys in there now, to be honest with you. The hired hoodlum and whatnot, Lummox. He said that guy's doing it. I've seen no proof of any. I've seen no proof of any of these guys. To be honest, I don't see it. Or at least I haven't seen it, I should say. I don't watch, like I said, I'm not that entrenched in it, but I haven't seen enough of it. But Wings keeps boasting about it. And the boast, ladies and gentlemen, comes from the fact that, okay, this is how the scheme allegedly works. You guys give him a kickback off of your YouTube channel every month or every 2 months or whatever the case may be, and he don't flag the channel down. Now, to be honest with you, they're resourceful. They'll just start new channels. Most of them already have channels already in the wings and shit. All they gotta do is put no pun intended. All you have to do is put content out. So I don't know if that's that big of a deal. Numbers doesn't appear to be an issue with these guys as it pertains to subs or whatnot. The views will come in regardless. So I don't know if I don't look at that as a deterrent to say that, oh, I'll flag your channel down. So what? Eventually these guys, and most of these guys have had their channel taken down or had false flags or whatever, or copyrights put on their channel, and eventually they got it back. That's what happened with Conway, Conman, and Lean for a little while. That those guys were they were missing videos, and for a while their channels had no videos on it. And then eventually everything came back. So I would assume, and I was fortunate enough to have people to pass on the information later, that that was Wings going ahead and waging his attack. But I would assume in that world, in their world, what's 12,000 subs when you can start all over and get that all back and some in a couple more months? You know what I mean? So I don't know if I feel like that's enough of a threat. And then, yet again, if this is true, let's say this is true, for example, then does that not prove my theory right? That he's merely part of the machine. It's not that the machine is working around him. He's actually incorporated into the machine. Does that not? So that actually gives my theory, it makes it valid, if you think about it. But let's hear some more, though. But I've seen no proof of it. That's all I'm going to say about that. I've seen no proof about it.
Some of them pay me for content. So I have to make something that keep getting them clicks. You know, and it's not nothing that's gonna, you know, pay off my house, but it's a piece of the puzzle. I make, you know, like $1,000 some a month off that. It's $12,000 a year just for doing nothing extra. So like, there's that process of it, and there's also the other process of it. Well, like, it does affect my personal life. Like recently, I had a marriage kind of fall through because they kind of attacked my fiance's like family, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Let me jump in. Sorry, just go ahead and stuff a cucumber in there for a second. So, okay, so first off, what? Okay, they have to pay. Essentially, they have to pay the toll or pay tribute for the content. But this is all you do. So you really, this is all you do. So you don't really have any real ground to stand on if you think about it, because he's going to do this anyway. Same thing with DSP. You know what I mean? DSP is going to keep doing this because this is all he has. He has nothing else. So what the fuck is Wings talking about? It's not like, okay, hey, we'll pay the toll, and then you go out there, and then we're going to facilitate some shit to have you blow up so all of us can get the clips, so we can all get the clicks, so we can all make money. It doesn't necessarily work that way. You always are going to be doing this. You're not going to do anything else. Because if you were going to, you would have done it by now. So what are you talking about? That's the first thing. That don't sound right. That damn sure don't sound right. And one of the things that definitely don't make it sound right is the fact that I'm going to sit here and I'm going to get my cut for not doing anything extra. So the very thing that you're stuck doing anyway, why would these guys have to pay you so they can have content? You are the content. You're not going nowhere. You're going to keep doing this. And yet again, whether he starts a stream, gives up after 5 minutes or 5 hours, there's always going to be someone there to click it or to clip it. So yet again, what's he talking about? Secondly, about it affecting his personal life. Now, at this point in the Wings timeline, allegedly, our boy is married. Now, how has this become an issue? PKA ended up bringing this out, where the girl that Wings, or the woman, I should say, that allegedly Wings married, was someone that he was trying to get a date with years prior. There was an episode of PKA that went over this. And she swerved him, or maybe he got the wrong impression. Who could say? It sounded very strange when it came out initially. But Wings was pretty upset that things didn't go the way he wanted it to. And he went and vented to his homeboys as usual. Kyle was one of the first people willing to ride for him on him. Like, oh, fuck that chick or whatever. And come to find out, that's the same chick that Wings ended up marrying. Now, granted, there's more to that story. I'm sure anybody that are real Wing enthusiasts will actually let you know down in the description. But essentially, a woman that he's talked shit about is the very woman he ended up marrying. Allegedly. Like I said, I don't know how much of that is true if he married this girl or not. Because as far as I've seen, she hasn't popped up in any of the troll videos or anything yet. And they supposedly live in the same house. And Wings streams the majority of his time. So, yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing.
Getting that extra revenue worth, because I could see, like, from things you've said, I could see that this makes you unhappy. I understand everyone needs to make a living, and I understand it, but wouldn't you, I mean, have you looked into other options, like even working at home? There's something you could do, because if that's how much you're making a year, is 12,000 from what you're doing?
No, that's just from Troll Channel Kickback.
Just Troll Channel Kickback. Okay.
Yeah, I make anywhere between 30 to 60,000 a year.
Okay. Now, that number also has been debated over, but they believe the numbers are much higher, because when you listen to Wings talk about what he owes in taxes, he has to be making well over 80 to 90,000 a year for what he talks about he owes in taxes. So yet again, this is some of the first discrepancies, I should say. One of the first discrepancies is exactly what kind of money is being made.
It's broad because streaming's broad.
Oh, I
right?
know.
I mean, like it usually falls somewhere in that ballpark. I mean, like, that's a good living in South Carolina. But probably not everywhere in the world, but South Carolina's a very, like, low wage state. Like, if you make 60,000 a year in South Carolina, you're doing well.
But you seem, from your own words, very unhappy with what you do. Like, do you truly hate video games as much as you say in the videos, or is that just kind of like a shtick?
If I didn't do streaming for a living, I wouldn't play video games. So like, that honestly, but like, at the same time, I've been unhappy.
There's some reasons for that, so let's go over it a little bit. It's the same reason why DSP is where he's at. Excuse me. These are gentlemen who, I use that term loosely, but you know what I mean. These are people who took something that was a hobby and ended up turning it into a full-blown living, made an enormous amount of money, may or may not have gotten a certain amount of notoriety from it, and whatever the case may be, excuse me, only to be passed up later on or made incredibly bad financial decisions that led to where these guys are at now. Because both of these guys at one point or another was damn near almost rock bottom when it comes to financially, from a popularity and or reputation standpoint, they're both in the shitter. Wings has a chance to recover, though. DSP don't. These are people who took the most simplest thing and made it difficult. With Wings, excuse me, especially, unlike Darkside Phil and just the spam fest of garbage of what it was, Wings didn't have to sit there and get to the point where I think he was uploading like 5 videos a day, something along those lines. And he didn't have to do that at the end of the day. He could have put out his 2 videos, maybe even 3 videos a day and been fine. He did the 5 because he needed the extra income. He needed the extra income because one of those chicks that he was messing with ain't sat there and convinced Wings to let her move in and take care of her kids, and he ain't shelled out all this crazy money, and that chick didn't do a goddamn thing for him, and she basically used him for everything he was and then left him in the dirt. He made bad decisions. Like when he was solo, you could say also he made bad decisions, but it was just him. You know what I mean? So yeah, he spent his money on a shitload of trucks that he didn't need to buy, and he was doing all kinds of other silly, crazy shit, but he was young, he was dumb, and he was making more money than he could ever imagine. It's a shame he didn't save enough of it. But once you bring this woman in and whatnot, and she's not really coming through, or she's not appearing to be the woman that you thought she was, plus she has kids in tow that aren't yours, and you're more invested in the well-being of those children than she is, and now you're forking up all this extra cash to make sure that they have everything they need, and then she's blowing money on the back end. He got fucked. He got played. And then the thing with his mother didn't work out very well, because the house that he lives in, or the mobile mansion, I think is what they call it now. Excuse me, the detractor meme for that. He's paid for that twice. The original deal, if I remember the original story, was his mother said he could have the home if he paid it off. So he worked towards paying it off. Eventually did. And then his mother either did a reverse mortgage or did something on the damn thing to pull the money out and spend it for whatever the fuck she spent it on. Who knows? And left him with the bag. And was basically like, okay, pay it off again, and now it's yours. So he got fucked paying for the same thing twice. You know what I'm saying? Double financial jeopardy, if you will, except for the fact that he did have to pay the fine twice. With that being said, then that led to that mad dash that Wings was in for a while, because his mother got sick, and he needed to go ahead and get her to sign the paperwork over to him before anything happened to her. Now, she's still alive as far as I know. But if she had died before signing over the property, it would go to his stepdad. I don't know what kind of relationship him and his stepfather have, but it probably wasn't going to work out. Because if his mother took advantage of him, I would assume his stepfather would be less than generous. Go and get stepdaddy a beer. So in terms, he needed to go ahead and make that happen, which he was able to facilitate that, as far as I know. And now he has full ownership of his house, one that he should already have, which means that all the upgrades and things like that he wanted to do for the mansion, the mobile mansion, he should have already been able to do that. And he should have even more money in the bank lined up than he already has. He didn't. Let his mom fuck him over. One of the many females apparently who have run through Wing's life and had taken advantage of him. It is what it is. There's a price to be paid, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not comfortable with yourself and you're relying on companionship of other people at the end of the day. And especially if you're someone that's in Wing's situation, you're generally only going to be... You only see the relationship the way you want to see it because that's what you want to see, until that shit takes a real toll on you. You know what I mean? And yet again, this is where self-worth comes into play. You got to value yourself before anybody else will, because if you don't value yourself, no one else will. You're only setting yourself up to be taken advantage of. It's only human nature. And even the nicest people, or even the people who care about you the most, will put you in a situation where, you know, they'll line you up if you allow them to. Jesus Christ, his own mother fucked him. Who's to say anybody else wouldn't? Just for example.
Doing what I'm doing even before Twitch. I was unhappy in YouTube. Like, one of the happiest days of my life is when I quit doing YouTube. I mean, honestly, because I got tired of constantly having to try to be fresh and create, especially Call of Duty commentary. It was so saturated. Like, how do I make myself stand out from every other person doing this, right? And it's like constantly having to put a new idea out and be inventive and something else to try to get clicks. Waking up every day trying to think of a video that will get somebody's eyes and attention. It stressed me out, honestly.
But I was looking at it. It's funny
because
because
been successful because he's more worried about trying to bring more and more people in, which is understandable back in those days. Whereas continue to be consistent for those who are already here. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, if you put out a good product, people will show up. The thing is that Wings saw all these new people coming in, a lot of them younger, a lot of them with a lot more talent, and he saw these channels that went from 25,000 to 100,000 to like 2 or 3 or 400,000, what seems like overnight. And that makes it hard to compete, and that's why people like him eventually got pushed down more and more and more. And because of his mind state at that time, watching these other people grow quicker and quicker and quicker, and then him beefing with other content creators and so on and so forth, his gameplay suffered. So now you went from putting out at least the best content that he could put out at the time, whether gameplay, commentary, or both, to now putting out mediocre of both while asking for views, right? While everybody else is literally not even playing at the top of their level. They're all kind of just on autopilot because they're just that good. You know what I'm saying? Which is where the dual collabs came to play, and that's when content creators were basically facing off against each other and so on and so forth. And Wings wouldn't have been able to deal with that because, not to say his best days were already past him, it's just it would have been harder to compete. Like, I don't remember... Well, I remember a little bit of Wings when it came back to Black Ops 2, because obviously that's one of my favorite Call of Duties, to the Black Ops 2 era, but I feel like he didn't get the buzz that he probably should have. Jesus Christ. It's because of Black Ops 2, Wings helping him with the algorithm, and a couple of other things as well that helped Thunder get to where he's at. You know, 402 Thunder, to be honest with you. Because quick story, I guess, side story. Thunder wasn't getting the growth that he felt that he needed, or that he deserved, and he needed some help. So he went to Wings and he was like, "Hey, can you help me out with this? Because I need my channel to grow." Wings has told the story before. He's like, "Yeah, we can help you with the algorithm," and he played that game. During that and around that same time, Thunder got into an issue with Woody's gamer tag over an over a situation that happened with Woody's gamer tag's son, or Woody's son, Colin, I believe his name is. He had a situation on stream. We don't need to go into it. If you want to find it, you can find it. And there was a situation on their live stream which Woody was already getting shit over. I will talk about this. Woody took shit over that. He had been taking shit over that because a lot of people didn't like. Fuck it, I'm gonna do it. Woody's son basically was jerking the family dog off on stream, and Woody and his wife tried to defend him, saying that he didn't really know what he's doing because, you know, his son has a learning disability. But that's not necessarily what Woody took shit for. Woody was taking shit because people were saying that you shouldn't put your young daughter out there on those streams when you see what some of the people are saying under those videos or under those streams about her. That's what he was taking shit over. It's funny how that never got addressed, or it didn't get addressed the way it should have. Now let me fall back a little bit. When it comes to Woody and it comes to 402 Thunder, 402 Thunder was playing with, oh shit, I think El Presidor was there. I don't know if Fisticuff was there, but it was a bunch of these guys playing in a lobby. They were playing in a Black Ops 2 lobby for one of Thunder's usual gameplays. And you could hear El Presidor in the back making jokes about the situation with Woody's son. And it was real short. It's very easy for 402 Thunder to have missed it. Whatever. I don't know what the details were about that. The point is, the video went up. People saw it. Woody and his wife obviously were extremely upset about it. Even though 402 Thunder didn't say anything. That was El Presidor who said that. But they were extremely pissed off at 402 Thunder about it. After the video went up, you know, they had reached out to him and said everything, whatever. Thunder took the video down. Then then Woody and his wife decided to go ahead and make a video bashing him and saying about, you know, as a firefighter, you should have more integrity, than that, and how could you do such a thing? And that shit's almost exhausting going through all that old shit. I might do that later on and give you guys that whole rundown. In any case, around the same time that 402 Thunder was asking for help with his channel, and Wings was helping him, was right around the time of the beef with Woody. So Wings basically got fucked for helping Thunder because he was beefing with Woody's gamer tag at that time. And I don't even know if Wings even knew what that full situation was. At the end of the day, Thunder came to him for help. He helped him. He may have not even known about the bullshit with, you know, with the live stream nonsense yet. He may have not have known. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't know if he did or if he didn't, but he may not have. And that caused the rift, or it opened up the wound, I should say, between the two of them. And then there's even more. Then you get the White Boy 7th Street problems with Woody, which is actually fucking interesting, to be honest. And just this whole bullshit. And that's what it was. That's what the Call of Duty community's always been. It's just been drama over the dumbest crap. Because people copied each other, because people faked gameplays, because people took other people's gameplays and tried to pass it off as their own, and went to incredible lengths to do it. People being jealous over the dumbest shit. You got to understand that since Call of Duty became profitable, or since gaming, I should say, on YouTube became profitable, Call of Duty helped build YouTube. Like they laid down foundations that helped YouTube become what it was. So when people were starting to get demonetized in recent years about that bullshit, 2017, 2018, it's kind of fucked up. The Call of Duty community felt like they were being betrayed by YouTube when they helped actually build it. Just something to think about. But early YouTube, when it comes to Call of Duty for profit, the glory years, if you will, was a fucking arms race. You had people literally killing themselves to put gameplay out. Like Black Ops 2, for example. Like, I remember watching my older siblings play that shit, and it was heavy. It was heavy. They got into fucking lobbies with some of Call of Duty's best. Whether from pro players to just regular Call of Duty YouTubers to fucking pub stompers. They were literally shopping for lobbies, as they call it, looking for gameplay. Thunder's in a bunch of those things. Thunder's actually been accused multiple times of, if he comes into it, he starts off in a game and shit ain't working well, he dips. And a lot of guys did that. So Thunder doesn't deserve to get shit on for it. But Thunder will sit there when he's having a good game, he'll sit there and pull a DSP kinda and laugh it up and talk about his superiority and shit and about, look at all these bitches run. But he's done the exact same thing. And El Prezador has been quick to point that out. You know what I mean? Where they've been in lobbies with guys, you know, 402 Thunder may have talked this shit, maybe he didn't, and they were getting stomped, and they could have made a comeback, and Thunder got no heart with it. Or there'll be a bunch of Thunder's talking his shit, other people are allegedly talking shit, and Thunder got intimidated and he left, allegedly. So there's all, and it's not just him, there's probably a bunch of people who did that. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody can take it as well as they give it. All kinds of stuff like that. There's all kinds of discrepancies. You know what I'm saying? All like iFly alumni event against Raw Instinct. All that stuff. There's all kinds of just dumb drama that these guys had, but it was a fucking arms race. And these guys were making redunculous money. And you guys know who X-Jaws is? Or remember who he was, I should say? He's a perfect example. Made stupid money in an extremely short amount of time. Look at where... Look at where T. Martin and look at where what's that other guy's name? T. Martin and oh my god, the English guy. T. Martin and oh man, it's gonna piss me off now that I don't remember his name. And it's not that he's not relevant anymore, but Allier. Look at T. Martin and Allier. Look at the amount of money those guys made. And their gameplay was, it wasn't bad, certainly. But once they started getting into the news situation, and once, at least for Allier, because he had a contact, or he does have a contact, allegedly, inside of Activision, He got fed information, and then bam, he was the first one to put it out. To be honest with you, T. Martin wouldn't be where he's at if it wasn't for Allier letting him in. And for Allier, it was only smart to let T. Martin in because, let's be honest, instead of holding a monopoly, you're going to always get the information first, and then eventually it's going to trickle down to T. Martin. And even if T. Martin had a contacted out at Activision, allegedly, or with the developers, Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward, or Treyarch, he'll never have the information before you. Well, almost never. So at the end of the day, Allier doesn't look at T. Martin as a threat. So why can't there be two different personalities that put the news out? Who cares? Everybody can prosper, and then we'll just share the spoils amongst the two of us. Because everybody else was still worried about gameplay. Those guys' gameplay was good enough to where it's exciting, and they can go over the new weapons or new updates or whatever is coming out, and yet still have control of the news and still prospering. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who followed Call of Duty for any period of time, you know that. And those guys went uncontested for the longest time. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at someone now like the gaming revolution, he not only did Allier lay down the foundation for him, but Allier's business sense and social IQ is what allowed T. Martin to sit there and let T. Martin kind of come in. Let's be honest. Let T. Martin come in and do his thing with the news while still putting out gameplay, and then let it up for everybody else. Real quick, and then we'll move on because as you know, I'm really like talking about Call of Duty. When you think of Biblical Reaper, I don't know if any of you guys even remember who that guy is. Biblical Reaper sadly is known now for when he broke down on in a YouTube video because he was trying to basically play Keep Up with the Joneses with other more successful Call of Duty YouTubers and went broke. Or almost went broke. But before that, he had a very successful run for a short amount of time doing Call of Duty news and rumors, where they would just that. It was news and rumors for the upcoming Call of Duty videos. He would pull from Reddit, Twitter, and whatever fans and or viewers would submit to him. It was a nice racket. A lot of people hated it, but some people hated it. I won't say a lot. Some people hated it, but it was a nice racket. He had full control of it. Some of the guys now still do something similar to it, and he was moving up. He was starting to get invited out to events and all that. Before that, he was just another guy amongst a bunch of guys trying to get a look on YouTube. Once he started getting into the rumors and news, he shot right up because it was something that you could interact with. It wasn't just a video that you came in, hit a like or dislike, left a comment, and that's it. He would actually take your comments and interact with it. You go ahead and reach out to him or reach out on Reddit. You're more than likely, if your theory was good enough or even entertaining, it might make it into a video. If you tweet him, maybe one of your tweets will eventually get into one of his videos. It gave people a reason to engage with him, right? And so because of that, he was able to build upon it. If he had spent a little more time continuing to hone the craft, instead of worrying about keeping up with these guys and trying to prove that you're as successful as they are from a money standpoint, he'd be good. But he didn't. He wanted to keep up with Drifter before the cross-dressing thing came out. He wanted to keep up with Allier and T. Martin, which is a fucking joke because both of those guys were already millionaires. So that didn't make a whole lot of sense. You look at prestigious. You look at prestigious Key. You have Ace. You have Elite Shot. You have all those dudes were on the come up, and they were all hungry wolves. Korean Savage wasn't there yet, but Korean Savage is just a pup stomper anyway, so let's be honest. Not to disrespect pup stompers, but that's all he really is. And apparently quite the con man with that situation he pulled with his dad. Anyway, when you look at what he had, he didn't appreciate or he didn't understand what he had, and sadly it started to slip on him, and which led to the situation he was in. There were so many ways of making money in the Call of Duty community that Wings could, just off what I've named, Wings could have gotten into. He didn't. He was comfortable with what he was doing. He made a lot of money doing what he was doing. And more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, he got a lot of recognition doing what he was doing. He couldn't afford to give any of that up. He couldn't afford to. So instead of him looking for topics to talk about, he could have easily looked on Twitter. He could have easily looked on Reddit. He could have easily, or the Call of Duty forums, and check some of that out and see what's being said there. and use that to play off of. Use it as a point of contingency to talk of. Or if he watches other people's content, because that's how he knew everybody's views, which also led to how he knew how much money everybody was making. His issue with White Boy 7th Street's a good example of that. He could have looked at people's content and be like, hey, I saw in this video that's linked down in the description how someone ended up getting a gameplay on such and such stage or whatever. I'm gonna try to emulate that. So here we go. Or I'm gonna try this person's weapon setup, or so on and so forth. There's so many different options that he had, but he was so narrow-minded, and all he cared about was KD, which is what they all gave a shit about. They only cared about KD, that it didn't mean anything. Now you can watch anybody's Call of Duty channel and they'll post up losses, and it don't matter as long as the damn thing's entertaining. Who gives a shit if they lost? It wasn't an entertaining match. Was it close? Did it look like they had an opportunity? Good enough for me. I'm sure we've all seen the 120 kills, 0 deaths. I mean, who gives a fuck? Like, who gives a shit? That gets old. You know what I mean? It gets old. So if you can, instead of just going for high kills, be entertaining about it. That's why people love Mark J. Mark J is not only entertaining, not only is he a tactician, he's not only a very good strategist, but he's a good tactician. But also, he's entertaining. Same thing with Scump. You know what I mean? And so I'm giving you one of the best Call of Duty pros out there in Scump, and then I'm giving you one of the best pub stompers / actual just Call of Duty entertainers in Mark of J, when he posts anyway. And what are you going to do there? You got two people that are damn near unbeatable, allegedly. You know what I mean? You're talking about one guy, at least with Scump, who said that if Jay ever wanted to go pro, he would immediately pick him up. Which leads into a whole nother rigmarole back in Black Ops 2 when supposedly Optic was supposed to give Scump his own team, and then they end up reneging on it. One of the reasons why for that is because, let's be honest, Nate Shot needed to be carried. I'll say it. I don't give a shit. Nate Shot needed to be carried, and they just threw even more, allegedly, they threw just even more money at Scump to keep him in position. Then they end up losing a tournament. Can't remember where, but they end up losing a tournament. Scump left the team for a little while, and then they lured him with a bunch of money to come back. Eventually, it was his team, but by that time, dude ended up losing it, and not dude, but the guy who was who owned the team ended up losing it on some bullshit because one of his partners betrayed him, and then he started the Huntsman. So the only thing that Scump has to show for all of his hard work is he actually has a ring leading Optic, but he only has that one ring as the leader of Optic, and he deserves so much more than that. You know what I mean? But they couldn't split up Optic the way that they promised him they would, because now you have the green wall. You had Optic, then you had the green wall. Well, I think Optic was the green wall. They had two teams of Optic at that time. You put Scumpy in there, that's 3, and Scump is a likable guy. He's someone who not only scrims, but he also is in a casual lobby. He don't have no problems with it. You know, he don't have no ego about him. People are going to want to play with him. And especially from a pro standpoint, oh wow, I can get on Optic and I can play with Scump? Shit. It could have caused a division in Optic if that was a thing. So it's very obvious that Nate Shot and the other dude couldn't let that happen. You know what I'm saying? It's easier just to keep him in position, just keep feeding him even more money and just, hope it happens. But then you get into a conflict where the money's great, I'm sure, but Scump wanted rings. Scump wanted championships. You know what I mean? Being a money team was just whatever Optic is. It's innate to Optic, just like it is with FaZe. You know what I mean? Or any of those other teams that are like that. They're all money teams because they all make content. He wanted rings. He wanted championships. Anyway, sorry to get off subject, but the point being is that there was plenty of ways, to come up with content through Call of Duty. You just have to be open-minded to those things. And a lot of the stuff that I named to you, it didn't even happen. Those are things that could still happen later on. Somebody could listen to this and eventually get into Call of Duty and they could do some of those things and make it happen. But not a lot of that stuff actually happened. So he makes it seem like his back was against the wall, but he wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't necessarily the sky's the limit, but his back wasn't against the wall. Not the way he's describing it.
I was looking through your channel today, and your videos, even towards the end, I mean, I'm not talking about the like obviously drama ones. Even if someone like you got swatted, you talked about your surgery, which we'll get into. But even like your other videos, you weren't. I mean, you weren't getting hundreds of thousands of views, but you were doing better numbers than like someone like DSP, who was only getting like sometimes even not even 1,000 views. You were getting 27, 25, and this wasn't that long ago. It was only a couple of years ago.
You're roboting on me, but well, I don't want to talk too much about DSP, like, because he's not here to defend himself.
I'm not even talking about him in terms of.
I'm not talking about bad about him, but like, I just want to point it out there. Like, I like Phil, and I understand where Phil's coming from a lot of the times. I don't get like Phil always talks bad about me, but that's because he's getting nefarious. He's getting people go over there antagonizing him, and like Phil kind of plays into it a little bit more than I do. So like mine and Phil's content.
That's not the real reason why. That's not the real reason why DSP don't like you. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, Jordy? You know better than that. Okay, the reason why DSP don't like Jordy, it actually goes back a little further than even I knew. To be honest, not to say that I'm some I'm some oracle about this shit, but it actually goes back a little further than I initially thought. But I'll go back to the point that is most common. In 2015, you can find this in a Secret Life of DSP, aka the artist formerly known as the Secret Life of DSP, aka known as just Secret. You can find it in one of his worst moments. It has to be in his top 10 worst moments, I think. It's either in his or it's in the Fred Fucks one. It has to be in one of those two. I feel like that was in Secret's top 10 worst moments, where DSP was supposed to, I think it was in 2015, 2015 or 2016, where Wings had invited him to come on to a podcast. It was him, it was Wings of Redemption, Eddie, Jive Turkey, and I think White Boy 7th Street was on there too, because I think they had mended up their shit and they finally did a podcast together. And they asked if DSP would come on it. DSP said okay, and then I guess he kept pushing the date back or whatever the case may be, or he said some nonsense about he was going to be sick at or around that time. I didn't know that you could predict you being sick 2 weeks out, but whatever. He's the king of snorts for a reason. And to make a long story short, he kept him on a leash, and then he was like, fuck it, I can't go on, whatever. At that same time, on that same day that he told him that he couldn't be on their podcast, he had a bunch of different videos coming out on King of Hate, and DSP likes to tell you what the date is and everything when he puts out his content. So he sat there and put out content the very day that he told Wings and the rest of these fellows that he was sick. Now, they did take some shots at him on that podcast, and rightfully so. But Wings was basically like, hey, I reached out to him, asked him if he wanted to come on. He said he was sick. I feel like he's kind of avoiding us, and so on and so forth. Let's let it go. And the other guys were like, all right, well, fuck him. No big deal, is what it is. They may have taken some shots at him, and they went on with the show at hand. DSP used that as the pretense for him not to interact with them anymore, and kept a hate boner for Wings ever since. Now, if you didn't want to go on that show, then you shouldn't have gone on there. Those weren't DSP detractors or haters or any of that stuff. All them dudes were Call of Duty heads for the most part. And DSP was on Machinima with a lot of those guys. They knew him from the gaming community and shit. They wanted to bring him on and they wanted to talk to him. It wasn't even exploitation like guys try to do to DSP now. It was legit trying to bring on somebody who was around at their time, that was in their realm. And DSP just could have just told them no. Why drag it on any longer than it need to be? So that right there is one of the main reasons that DSP has his hatred for Wings. And it's kind of escalated over the years. It's really something petty and stupid, to be honest. It's just really fucking dumb. Now, with that being said, for whatever reason, Wings, and I've said this before, Wings looks at DSP as a kindred spirit. in a lot of way. Brothers in arms, if you will. Even more so if Wings had gout, but brothers in arms, if you will. So he looks at it as, I go through a lot of shit, you go through a lot of shit. There's no reason why we can't be cool with each other. But DSP don't want that. DSP looks at it as, oh, you're only coming to me, or you only want to be cool with me because you're looking to exploit me. And you're looking to make yourself popular off of me. So why would I do that? And why does DSP think that? Because that's what DSP would do. DSP would exploit Wings and his community for all he could, financially and for popularity, and he'd leave him off in the dust. Hence the reason why DSP thinks Wings would do it to him. It's an interesting type of mindset to have, but I'm confident that's what that is. And Wings, in a lot of ways, is just looking for someone to relate to. I think Wings is legit looking for someone to relate to. If he can profit off of it, sure, why not? But I think legit he's looking for someone that who understands his plight. And I think in another, this is going to be pathetic, and I hate the fact that I have to say this, but I think also Wings looks at DSP, and he's like, for all the shit that you go through, you still continue to do this. And he looks at DSP's strength. I know, it's really funny. Try to keep your laughter down for a minute. But he looks at DSP's strength as something that he wishes that he had. And maybe even he can get a better understanding of it to help him move forward. Now, that was something extremely pathetic that I just said there, ladies and gentlemen. But that doesn't make it any less plausible or make it any less true. But more importantly, it's the connection. And DSP don't want to have any connections with people unless he can exploit them. Pure and simple. So that was never going to happen. So that's why Wings don't fall into the trap of, people trying to take shots at him or try to compare him to DSP and all that dumb shit because he don't want no problems with it. But some nights Wings don't give a fuck, and he'll be like, hey, DSP can't compare to me. Or the recent boxing thing that was going on where Wings said that, yeah, if I got into a boxing match with DSP, I'd beat the fuck out of him. And he would. He beat the brakes off Phil. So it's not a lie. But that's the reason why Wings is hesitant to talk about DSP. And I understand that you want to have a connection and shit, and you think somebody understands you, and maybe someone that you can relate to, but DSP is not that person. He is not that person. Trust me, Wings. He is not that person.
Are extremely different animals. Like, I've always led a more like sincere, game-driven, based channel where he's always just like uploaded, let's plays that are like 10 minutes long and dumped out in mass production, like two completely different products.
Yeah, he used to just literally record with a camcorder and slice it up and make 10-minute videos on YouTube. That's what he used to do. He did that until 2013.
Well, 2013 is pushing that kind of equipment malfunction, but but like, more power to him, because like my first experience with YouTube was I bought a Dazzle. I don't know if you know what a Dazzle is.
Yeah, I used to record with the Dazzle. I did the same thing.
Yeah. It was a standard definition capture card, and I hated that thing. I took it back like the first week, and I just went and bought a Hyapog HD PVR, and I was like one of the first HD channels on YouTube with Call of Duty content, and that's one of my claims to fame.
Everybody did that. There's still people that still record like that. I think Thunder, up till only a couple of years ago, was still using one of those HPs to do so. It's pretty consistent. I think Fisticuff still. Well, no, I think Fisticuff using Elgato now, but he was using one of those too. Like, all Call of Duty heads were doing that. I don't know if Wings was the first, but if he was the one who set the trend. I know Wings was one of the people who advocated for people to do so. So just keep that in mind. Also, as it pertains to DSP doing everything by camcorder, we know that. Him chopping everything up into 10-minute segments and putting it out and spamming the system, we know that. But do you guys actually know why? I've been told that DSP said some nonsense about he found a sweet spot in the algorithm. Actually, matter of fact, it's in another interview he did. I think it's in the quartering interview. I don't know if that interview is out yet at the time that I'm recording this, but because Jesus Christ, that was a long one. Holy shit, like 2 days worth of bullshit. Anyway, point being, I think in that one he spoke about it, where he had found the sweet spot with ads, and that's why he uploaded everything into 10-minute segments. But there's something that he's not telling you, but this is true, is that he figured if he could spam the system early on, if he could spam the system, no matter what game he played, he'll always be the top result. Even if he wasn't playing the game, and let's say this game falls into a particular category, even if he's not actually playing that set game, because of how high he was going to be in the algorithm, it would almost automatically direct you to at least one of his games, to a game that's similar to what you would be looking for. He had, I wouldn't say it was calculated because that's giving him too much credit, but he spammed the system the way he did for as long as he did for a reason. And he didn't care, and I'm talking about DSP now, DSP didn't give a shit if that was going to hurt him from a sub count category. The reason why, or from a sub count perspective, because he didn't give a fuck. As long as he got views, sooner than later, it was going to he felt it was going to bring in more subs. And that's why he kept going with it. That's why he kept doing it the way he did it for all those years. Despite the fact that he had loyal fans or viewers or whatever who were telling him, hey, this is too much. You need to stop. I can't subscribe to you, dude, because you're putting out way too much content, and I can't watch the shit, and it's going ahead and flooding my inbox. Oh, well, that's YouTube's problem. No, it's your problem. Stop posting so many goddamn videos, dude. Just stop posting so many. Or make the videos slightly longer and post less. Didn't want to listen. And that's what, and it ended up fucking him over in the end. Theoretically, 2015, it ended up fucking DSP even more, because when the false copyright strikes came in that year, he got hit like twice, 3 times that year, whatever the lore is. I'm pretty sure it's only twice. One by Jackie Chen and then the other one by Be Awesome One. When he got hit with that nonsense, and he deleted those videos, and that's something that I have to preference here. I have to preference that Dark Side Phil deleted those videos because he was panicked that if he didn't get rid of those videos and those individuals decided to strike more of his videos, or other videos I should say, he was going to lose his whole channel. Now he says, DSP's mythos says that no, it was YouTube and Machinima that told him to delete those videos, and he allegedly has the emails for it. Here's the reality. He did it because he was panicked, and he felt like his back was against the wall, and if he didn't do it, he was going to lose DSP Gaming. For all the years that any of you have watched DSP content, watched detractor content, or just observed Phil at any given time, when Phil is in a pinch, what is the first thing he does? He reacts. And in an emotional reaction, if you were in a situation where you have one copyright strike with the potential of 2 or 3 more coming in, what are you going to do? Are you going to go ahead and contact reach out to your contacts and let them do their goddamn job? Or are you going to go ahead and start deleting videos because if you don't, you're afraid they're going to hit more before the contact can get back to you? Which one sounds more plausible? And that's what fucked Phil Burnell. At the end of the day, I don't know if those guys were looking to get a response or just to scare him or whatever the case may be, but whatever the situation was, Phil reacted in a negative sort of way, as Phil normally does, and he fucked himself. And that is the truth. And that's what actually happened. And he's been trying to accuse detractors for that shit ever since. When in actuality, Phil fucked Phil.
And and I did that strictly because I couldn't play on standard definition.
I actually had the same capture card too. I got the HD PVR. That was such a huge step. I went from a dazzle, which I did at the time. I didn't mind the dazzle. I actually had this whole technical setup that it worked okay, and it's all nerdy shit that no one cares about. But I did go over to the HD PVR as well. But my point being was not to bring up, you were still getting decent views on YouTube even until you stopped relatively recently. I mean, I'm not even talking about like your weight loss surgery, like I said, we'll get into.
But you see the video's views. The problem with my channel is that I didn't have long tail.
They didn't last long in terms of they're like evergreen,
mm-hmm. Right, like if you make let's say you make a video of Skyrim, and you're like, this is how you get to point A to point B to Skyrim. That video is going to get views its entire life. It's not going to get mass number of views, but it's going to constantly grow in views its entire life. Then you take my video, 40 and 1 on Scrapyard. Nobody's clicking that in 2020.
No, of course not. That's the same with me with my videos. It's news.
Right.
As soon as the news is done, it's done. Yeah.
Right. So it's like every month I had to amass the number of views I needed to make the amount of money I needed. There was never no like long tail to kind of like help me out and kind of slowly propel me up the money train.
Okay.
Whereas like, you know, like a channel like the Rad Brad, you know, to put it out there, he could quit today and be making money 5 years from now just off long tail.
Yeah, he's been on a force on YouTube for years, man. Yeah,
Right, but his content lends itself to long tail, which mine
He's
didn't.
saying long tail. What do you mean? I'm sure you guys know what he means, but what he's talking about is replay value. He's saying that when you put out content, it's not about the initial views, right? Because as you start amassing more and more content, aka more and more videos, you start to develop what's known as a catalog. You guys all know this, so I don't mean to insult anybody's intelligence as I'm saying this. But for any of you who don't know, yet again, I'm not trying to insult you either. But you amass a catalog. What Wings is talking about with long tail is that's just his way of saying it. I've heard the term before. Is basically there's no replay value on his catalog. Not sufficient enough, I should say, where it's consistent padding each and every month. Now keep in mind, he still gets views, and those views still accumulate some type of amount, right? I can't measure it because I don't know what his CPM is, but it accumulates some amount of money. But it doesn't have a massive view count to where it would be worthwhile. Like when he said with Rad Brad, if you're looking for an old playthrough of whatever game it is, you can go back there and watch it, and you can go back and find it on his channel and watch it. And then if you like it, you share it. Then next thing you know, that's how an old playthrough ends up making $10,000 in the span of a month, because a bunch of people are starting to share it because, there's a renewed interest in that game. Or if a game is remastered, like Darkside Phil likes to play, if he can go ahead, when that remastering comes out and people are interested in that game, they're going to go on YouTube to look for old playthroughs for it, which is the reason why DSP likes doing all those remasters. That's the reason why he likes doing redemption runs, stuff like that, especially with Firm Software games, because there's always people looking for those playthroughs. Phil, you're not smart, and you're damn sure not slick. Detractors have already figured that out long before, right around the time you started doing it, people started to figure out that was one of the reasons. And so that's the reason why that's the reason why DSP does what he does. Here's the thing with Wings. There is replay value for old Call of Duty videos. There are plenty of people who do that watch old Call of Duty videos. The thing is, for Wings, is the money isn't enough that he feels that it has value. So he looks at it, or he looked at it as, he puts a video out, bam, he makes his little money off it. Okay, now I need to get the next video going so I can make my money off that. He's not thinking about what's going on in the long term, because the bulk of the views comes from that video right then and there. But then that's one of his problems also. If you have that mindset, then that's going to translate into the content. So people are only going to want to watch it once, maybe twice, and then that's the end of it. He feels that people wouldn't go back through his catalog and actually look and take actual interest in it. And that's a shame, because he only needs 15 to like 30 people to do that over the span of a couple months, and that does accumulate something, but it doesn't accumulate what he wants or what he feels that it deserves. Everybody's old videos have some type of value to somebody. It's just a matter of it getting discovered. At the end of the day, there's some videos out there that came out, 8 or 9 years ago that are still timeless. You know what I mean? They'll always get views, but it's just something to think about.
Content that you ate that day and just threw away, and that was one of the problems I had with my channel.
What made you finally decide to just say, screw YouTube, I'm going over to Twitch? What was the straw that broke the camel's back?
Honestly, I had $400 to my name, and I needed a set of tires on my truck, and I was fat, depressed, and unhappy, and I just live streamed one day, and I made more money on that live stream than I had the last 2 months combined. Because that year I came off, like, I forgot what year it was. It was like 2015. I made like $9,000 for the entire year.
Oh my God, on YouTube, that's it?
That's it.
Oh shit.
$9,000 for the entire year. Like, I went through my entire nest egg, the whole nine. I got kicked off PKA sometime in 2014. So like I was still in my depressed state. I had lost the machinima contract.
Right before the money got really big, which is a whole nother story in itself. Because I think what the final straw for PKA was I think that was the camping trip that Wings basically left them holding the bag on. I think that's what it was. And then as soon as that happened and those guys came back from that, because Wings didn't go. So when Kyle and Woody came back, then that's all of a sudden the sponsorship deals had gone through. And then that's when PKA started making real money. Now, what PKA makes a year, I couldn't tell you. Wings says that each one of the guys on there, there's 3 guys, all make 6 figures. Is it possible? Yeah, it's very plausible. They have, even though their views aren't super crazy or nothing, they do have sponsorships. They have a lot of them. And all 3 of those gentlemen are pretty savvy businessmen, to say the very least. Now, like I said, whether it's 6 figures or not, I couldn't tell you. It's certainly good money, I would assume. And then they do get really credible guests up there, football players, different YouTube personalities of all varieties and all sub counts and so on and so forth. They're able to secure the type of guests that people want to see, so people will support those videos. And if you've ever seen the PKA clip channels, and there's a couple of them, I think they're actually run by PKA, by the way, but don't hold me to that. They bring in viewership too, so that's all a thing. So they have a nice little nexus over there, and it kind of makes sense that they're making the money that they're making. But the point being is that it was after Wings fell through on that camping trip promise is when all the money really started to come through. I had a theory. I can't say that it's a theory. That it was... fuck it. I have a theory that I think that Woody knew that Wings was going to pull out. Not saying that it was pre-planned or anything like that, but I think he knew Wings well enough to know that he was going to end up pulling out of that trip, which is justifiable enough to be enough of a justification, I should say, to kick him off the show or vote him off or whatever the fuck the semantics that went through to make that happen, and then bring the real money in. Because yet again, Wings started this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Wings will always be associated with PKA. And, you know what I'm saying, for everything that has happened since then and the leaps and bounds they took, it was still built off of and with Wings. So if you go ahead and pull Wings out, and Wings is one of those people, when it comes to money getting split, he's going to want his cut. And he may want a little more than everybody else, or however the situation comes about. Maybe nobody wanted to deal with that headache. Maybe the only person, and this is all a theory. So let's say that Woody has this going through his head. You know what? I don't think this dude's going to show. And I already have this big money situation going on with these sponsorships. And if Wings don't come through and he fucks this over, you know, Kyle's never going to let him live this down. Now, I'm just saying, I'm theorizing that Woody's formulating this in his head. I'm gonna call Wings and be like, hey, Wings, I need to make sure that you're going out there with us. We're all have taken the time off. We put money on this. You need the show. You have to do this. Like we all agreed to. If you wanted to pull out, you should have did it weeks ago. Not now. Now you're in it for the long haul. But in the back of Woody's head, I'm hypothesizing that, well, he may not show. If he don't show, Kyle's gonna be pissed. And if Kyle's going to be pissed, that's more than enough justification to get Wings off. You know, or get Wings out. Sorry. Pause. That'll get Wings out of that scenario. And we can run a 3-man thing. And then, with using Kyle's animosity towards Wings for everything that led up to that, and then certainly what happened after the situation, that's more than enough fuel for the fire to keep the show going. And then we'll just slowly branch out. Yet again, that's my theory. I have no proof that it actually happened that way. Keep in mind, I'm working inside of Woody's head. You know what I mean? And could one say that, oh, well, wouldn't he have not, if he had that idea that Wings wasn't going to show, why wouldn't he tell Kyle? Because he can play off Kyle's animosity. It keeps the machine going at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, both of those guys are going to look good regardless because they're out there trying to help Wings. Woody always tries to put himself out there and always has as, I'm, the father figure. He's trying to be the peacemaker. He don't want no problems, but Kyle's very aggressive. And so if Kyle feels like this Wings stiffed us on some bullshit at the very last minute, that's more than enough to keep Wings fans and or supporters engaged to the show, and even convert them over to our side, being like, hey, we did the best that we could for Wings and he left us screwed. It kind of villainizes Wings in more ways than one. And yet again, he has to theorize if Wings is going to show up or not. But Woody knows Wings. He knows Wings better than anybody on that show. Better than anybody. And if Wings had any type of inclinations or doubt about not going, Woody would know. Just something to think about. Like I said, it's just a theory, though. I can't prove any of that.
January of 2013. The FBS boot camp thing happened, the PKA camping trip thing happened, and like I went through my entire nest egg, and all of a sudden, like within like a week, I had enough money to buy the tires I needed to be able to move back and forth, and then the money was just so much better, and the content was so much easier to make on Twitch. I'm like, and that's just where it started at, and like, granted, I didn't have a bukus of viewers back then either. Like I was. On a Call of Duty stream, I'd pull like 200 viewers, which is much different now. But like, that's the reason I switched to Twitch. And I kept trying to do Call of Duty content all the way up to World War II. But like, my heart was never in it. I mean, for the YouTube content.
And yeah, if you get sick of the content, then I believe me, I understand that, man. If you're not into it, then it's you might as well be cleaning toilets at Walmart. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you hate it, you hate it.
Mm-hmm.
So your weight, how much do you weigh now?
I weigh about 340, 348 last time I checked.
How much did you weigh before the surgery?
472.
Holy shit, you were bigger than me, dude. I was
And the thing is, if you look at Wings now, it looks like in our current timeline, like September of 2020, it looks like Wings has put the weight back on. Not all of it, but it looks like he's slowly but surely piling the weight back on. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, 472. I was a big dude. And granted, I've put weight on. Like I got my lowest I got down to was like 425. I mean 325. I'm sorry, not 425. 325. And like, and that's another thing that kind of icks on you, because like I was so proud of my weight loss. And like, it's never good enough for other people, and mainly since it was like a donation drive to get the weight loss surgery to begin with. Like, it's not good enough, which I agree, it's not good enough. I want to get down to 250. That's my goal weight, 250 pounds.
But he used the fact that, oh, you people aren't satisfied, you people keep ragging on me. He used that as his crutch to justify why his weight loss started to stagnate. And as it will to some degree, and why he lost interest and he became less motivated and so on and so forth. He literally weaponized his trolls to justify to his supporters why his weight loss wasn't as drastic or wasn't moving as far along as it should have. Keep that in mind too.
At the same time, it's like I'm in such a better place now than I was then, that I'll take this if this is all this gives me.
Well, the reason why people get on you for it is because you made it. And I actually did the same thing once in the past before, too. The second time where I finally sat down and said, look, I'm going to lose this weight because I'm actually like in 250s now. Well, I just did it and didn't say a fucking thing. The thing with you is I think that because you were so public about it and you got the financial support for it, that's why I think a lot of people put you to task on it.
Well, no, I don't think that's correct. I think most people put it to task on it is because I got $25,000 to do it, and I chose a route that cost $9,000.
So I have to ask what happened.
But Rich from Review Tech is still kind of right, because you did make it public and you did have the financial support to back that up, because you had to make it public to get the financial support. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. Now the third part of that is you sat there and went about it in a process that only cost you $9,000 instead of the $25,000. Now I can't remember what the actual pretense was, for the 25K. I think the 25K was supposed to help him with the whole 25,000 was supposed to help him with the weight loss surgery, then recovery, because remember he went to Mexico to do all that. The actual weight loss surgery, any recovery, medication, and then that was supposed to, the rest of the money was supposed to prop him up until either he comes back to streaming or he's ready to go back to school or whatever the case may be. Keep that in mind. But I don't think initially when he asked for the money for the weight loss surgery that all those details were put in. I think that stuff came about later on.
To the other 16 then. Like, that's what I think people are wondering.
A lot of it went to taxes. Like, because you got to pay taxes on that 25,000. The government, Uncle Sam doesn't give a fuck what you got it for. It's 1099K. That's what I got to pay on it. So a large portion went to taxes. I don't have insurance, health insurance, so I had to get a doctor. I forgot what it's called. It's basically like where you run on a treadmill and they make sure your heart is strong enough for surgery.
A stress test you got.
Stress test. So I had to do that. I had to do doctor follow-ups, blood work. My blood work is like $1,200 every 4 months.
Jesus Christ, why? Why is it you still do that now?
I don't do blood work now. I only had to do that for the first year after the surgery.
Okay.
But like at the time, it was like $1,200. That's because I don't have insurance, and I had an entire list that was like a page long of stuff they had to test, and each test has its own individual price. I don't know if you've ever done blood work like that, but you know what I'm saying. Which I'm due for blood work right now because my doctor wanted me to check my thyroid and my cholesterol and everything like that. But again, like I was kind of putting that off.
Now, you got the weight loss surgery in Mexico, correct?
Yeah.
Remember,
but like,
ladies and gentlemen, insurance is a pain in the fucking ass, but it's good to have in case shit happens. In case shit happens.
People, before we get all this, I want to explain where all the money went. Like, none of it went to my Mustangs. I don't know why that's a thing.
I didn't even hear about that, but okay, we put that out there. Let them know.
Yeah, like all the money I spent, like it was $9,000 on the trip itself, and that it was like $6,500 for the surgery.
He said Mustangs, not Mustang. There was the red one, which was Wendy, and then there was the black one. I don't remember what that was called. So keep that in mind. We squeezed out 2 Mustangs out that bitch too.
Then I had like another $1,200 for like plane tickets, and then I had to bring my mother along with me. She was part of the plane tickets, but like I had to feed her. I had to buy an extra room because of the way our plane coming home was. Like we couldn't get a plane that night. It had to get to the next morning, so we had to stay somewhere in San Diego. So we had to buy another night's hotel room. It was like $9,500, something like that for everything there. And then I had to pay taxes, and I couldn't tell you off the top of my head how much taxes was for $25,000, but it was like $7 or $8 grand.
Okay.
Right off the rip, right there. So right there is like 14 or 15 of it right there. And then the extra 10 grand, like I said, blood work, that's $4,000. Different doctor's visits is $65 a pop. And then there were some residuals, like $3,000 or $4,000 that I bought other things on, like shoes and things like that to walk and like. I mean,
that's what people were questioning is where the rest of it went. Now, so you said it was.
How you know that he's been watching, or he was watching at the time, a lot of DSP shit. Because if some of you guys take that into accountability, maybe not with the same type of detail, but DSP, when he was running off where the money went, what was it spent on, and so on and so forth, it was on shit like this. It wasn't as Wings was a little bit more detailed about it, whereas Phil is very vague, mainly because it's probably a lie more often than not anyway. But you can kind of see where DSP or where Wings got the idea to start talking about some of this. Womp womp.
How much was it for the blood work?
I had to do 4 blood work. It was about $1,200 a piece.
Okay. Now I know how you did the math then. Because at first you said it was $1,200, then you said it was 4. So if you had to do it 4 times, I could see where you got the 4,000 plus from. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I mean, like I didn't take this money with any intention of like I'm going to swindle these people. Like I was honestly, when I made that choice in December of that year, that I was either going to shoot myself in the head or I was going to die on a hospital table in Mexico. Only one of those two choices has life at the end of it.
What made you say that you wanted to shoot yourself in the head? What point were you at?
I was 470 pounds. I was super unhappy with life. I was streaming to like 200 people, begging to make $40, $50 a stream. I was by myself. I pretty much had no human contact outside of like my grandmother. And like my grandmother's been getting sick. And she's been getting sick for years, like slowly getting sicker. Recently, she got diagnosed with 3 types of cancer.
Oh, geez.
She's not going to be with us much longer.
I heard that on PK. I'm very sorry about that. Yeah.
And it's like I'm. People claim I got 62 IQ, but I look around and be like, dude, I'm about to be here by myself at 470 pounds, and I'm either going to eat myself to the point I can't get out this bed, and nobody's going to be able to help me, or I got to change my life. So like the only way I've failed dieting so many fucking times. I just don't have the willpower, mainly because of like the way like food's always been like a reward system for me, right? Like when I did well, I ate. When I feel bad, I eat. If I do something good, I eat. Every reward system is food in my life, and I have an unhealthy.
Fucked up. Okay, so I think the first Wings report I did, I went over Kyle's. I went over the it's on Sean Rankle's channel, but I went over Kyle's reaction to watching watching Wings look at an older version of himself, like it was like a picture and shit, right? And you guys have all seen that shit. It's one of the most, I think it's one of the most viewed Wings videos out there, but or at least one of them. But when after looking at the picture and coming to this realization, holy shit, this is where I was. And look at what I did to myself now. Jesus Christ, I failed myself. Then he goes to getting himself a banquet meal, right? And as Kyle says in that video, that kind of perked him right up. He feels a lot better about it. And he says that, and Kyle points out that he's like, if you see Wings eat, he chews like a dog, like swallow, right? And if you think about how Wings described the reward system with eating, right, where if he does something good, he gets I'm gonna say it. If he does something good, he gets a treat. If he isn't feeling so good, he gets a treat. If he's done something, if he's doing anything, he gets to eat, right? It's kind of like a dog. It's kind of like you giving a treat to your dog for doing something. It's kind of like that. Damn. As a cute pup in a sharp suit, I can say that, but Jesus Christ, that's shit.
Relationship with food.
See, it's interesting. It's interesting because as a person who was also, I wasn't as big as you, but my biggest was 420. Is that when I get severely stressed, the last thing I want to do, even at my fattest moment, was eat. Like I would not I couldn't force food down. Like I would have to drink a protein shake if I was really stressed and miserable. So I guess that was one small blessing with me because that kind of helped me kickstart but I understand though. I understand.
Yeah, it's just, and like I still have the unhealthy relationship with food. I still do. But like now I have like a stomach that I can't abuse it with. And I got to make the corrections now before that stomach stretches out.
Yes, because it can. I know people who have actually gotten bigger than they were before the surgery. Right.
And it does stretch out. Like when I first got the surgery, I couldn't eat like 4 ounces. I mean, now if I want to, I can eat a whole sandwich without getting sick. So it has stretched at this point. But you're always cognizant of that in the back of your head too.
Were you scared shitless to
get
the surgery?
Yes.
To get the surgery in Mexico? Because I know you were supposed to lose a certain amount of weight, and that's why you couldn't do it here because the doctors wouldn't do it here. Is that correct from what I've heard? Okay.
Yeah, the doctor here, which I forgot his name, he was an Iranian doctor, and he wouldn't work on anybody over 400 pounds. Wouldn't do it. Like if you're over 400 pounds, you're disqualified from my program. So I had to go find a doctor that would do it. And granted, he was like $26,000. The doctor in Conway. And and he'd only ever done like 500 of them his entire life. Whereas like Dr. Garcia, which is the doctor I ended up going with, he's done over 10,000 of them, and he was also like a surgeon that taught other people how to do them in like some university in Mexico. But like it's basically an assembly line down there, honestly. Like, but it's nice. It's safe. I'd do it again, but I was terrified of it, especially since the trolls were calling and like leaving bad reviews on the place I was going to, and like calling up to that place and like
Jesus
harassing
Christ.
them.
Wow, I didn't know that. They were so I mean, why would they allow the? Now this is the technical part that I want to. Why would they allow the surgery in Mexico, but they wouldn't up here? Was it just different? Was it
Standards? I
Okay.
mean, like in Mexico, it's assembly line. Like it's they do them a lot. They do them fast. They do them for money. Takes him 30 minutes to do the surgery. You're in and out. $5,000 in his pocket.
Wow. So that
He
would have freaked me out.
He did over 30 while I was there. And you stay there for 3 days. He did over 30 in 3 days.
So how much? I have 150,000, I guess, right there. I'm suck at math, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but like 150,000.
Dude, do
Just
it
boom, made.
like a mass conveyor. That's insane. So now, how fast did you lose weight initially after the surgery?
I don't know. I didn't check. Like the first time I actually got on a scale, weighed myself, because when I got to the surgery, I was 444.
Okay, so you
So I was
lost some.
I lost like 25, 30 pounds on the month leading up to it. And I did that with my grandmother's help and stuff like that. And I was proud of myself. And then I got into a fight with the doctor while I was there, honestly.
In Mexico?
In Mexico, yeah, because the surgeon was the only one that really spoke English, and he was unhappy with the amount of weight loss I lost. He said I didn't lose enough.
So
And like
what
it
was
hurt
the
my
fight
feelings.
about? What was the fight about?
It hurt my feelings because I was feeling really good about myself, and I'm like, I lost more than I thought I'd lose. And going into that, he said, just lose as much as you can. The more you lose, the better. And like he came at me like, you really fucked up. You didn't work hard enough. Blah 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 blah. And like I just got done doing like what I felt was like one of the hardest weight loss pushes I ever had in my life because I had, death motivating me.
So, yeah, I mean, and losing 30 something pounds is tough. How much did he want you to lose?
He never gave me a number, but he never talked to me before that because they go through these like little like reference centers. Like you don't talk to the doctor directly. You talk to like these people that are in California, and they schedule everything around you. And they go, the doctor says just lose as much as you possibly can. The more you lose, the easier the surgery. And then they throw this thing like, if you lose X amount of pounds, you will give you $500 back.
Huh.
Right. And they do that based on like your body mass index.
Well, I'm just surprised he didn't give you a number because you would think, because I know, especially if I watch like the show My 600-Pound Life, they say you need to lose this amount of pounds.
It's nothing like that though.
Okay.
It's nothing like 600-pound life. I was sitting
because
on
of
like
his circumstances and where he was at, yeah. But I would assume there's some type of target weight that they want you to hit. You know what I'm saying? You would think.
like one of those like sectional couches.
Okay.
And there was 9 of us all signing our paperwork to go into the hospital at the same time.
Wow.
Like you're a number up there.
That's crazy. It's just like it's like a conveyor belt of weight loss surgery.
Right. Like the stitches I had taken out at the hotel.
Stop it. Really?
At the Marriott. Yeah, they sent a nurse to the Marriott and she took everybody's stitches out in my little group.
Oh, man, that's scary.
Yeah, it's like
So do you intend on losing the rest of the weight now? Or are you like, is that something you're determined to do?
Well, I do want to lose the rest of the weight, and I was using like prior events in my life recently to push for the weight loss because I wanted to lose another 30 pounds before certain things, but like shit happened and I got really, really depressed really fast.
What food do you go to when you're depressed? What puts some of the weight back on?
It's not so much it's a go-to food. It's more of like eating constantly, because I can't eat a whole lot at any given time, but I can knick-knack all day.
Like pick on things the whole day. Yeah.
Right. Like bag of chips, something like that. Bag of chips. I'm really bad with like calorie intake with liquid form, like Yoo-Hoos, sweet tea, high C, anything that doesn't have carbonation, because I can't really do carbonation anymore.
I was about to say my go-to thing is seltzers, because it still gives me some kind of soft drink without having anything in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I know with the surgery you can't.
Right. Yeah. I can't do soft drink anymore, but like I can do liquid calories, and like I get a lot of like comfort from liquid calories, and like that's one of my bad ones. If I can just cut out soda, my food eating isn't the problem. It's my Yoo-Hoo, sweet teas, and high C's.
They're
like,
the worst.
Those are like 1,200 to 1,400 calories a day for me.
I used to do, I say this all the time, the same thing with me. My biggest thing was Starbucks. I used to go to Starbucks like 2 times a day, and that alone was like 1,400 plus calories. So yeah. Like if you could, dude, that would be so huge. If you find, or even get like, not the fake sweetener stuff. They have drinks that have like it's not artificial sweetener, it's sweetened another way. If you could find a way to substitute that, man, you'd probably lose like 30 pounds in a few months.
Well, yeah.
Because those drinks are killing. I know firsthand. The drinks,
they're poison. They're poison, and they're addictive. Like I have an entire shrine of.
As an official representative of SnortBucks, we do not condone or even identify with our products being poisonous or addictive. Just putting out the press release. We can't speak for Starbucks. We don't know nothing about that. But for SnortBucks, though, we don't condone any of that. we don't condone, nor do we co-sign to anything that any of these gentlemen are saying. Defiant sniff.
Cola, which is funny because like the meme about me is about Pepsi. Oh, you drank all my Pepsis, but like Coca-Cola was my poison of choice. I love Coca-Cola.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, the whole meme with the Pepsi, but you see, which is funny because I don't like Coke. I think Coke tastes like they just put syrup in fucking seltzer. But yeah,
Coke is more smooth.
It's the drinks are definitely huge, man. So that was actually one of the things that made the weight fly off me, was when I just stopped going to Starbucks and stopped. So it's something to think about, because
you got to think about it. Like if you don't take 1,400 calories a day in liquid, it's 3,500 calories to a pound. That's like 3 pounds a week, just right there. You're drinking. Yeah, it's 52 weeks in a year. That's over 100 pounds of weight loss right there. Just because you're losing the weight because you're not putting the calories on to burn.
Most of my weight loss, I really do think, was
that makes sense. Like you don't have to burn that 1,400 calories that you drank into your body that done nothing for you.
And if you think about it, 1,400 calories is probably about what I eat a day now. So I was drinking before I even overate, which I overate. I was just drinking in calories. So I was probably having like 3,000 plus calories a day, if not more. So yeah.
It's like the whole Wendy's chili thing they hit me with. Like Wendy's chili is like 270 calories for a large cup. Like it's nothing.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
It's like the drinking that large sweet tea is like 410 calories.
Yeah.
It's almost double what the chili is.
Oh, dude, like I used to get the caramel macchiatos. I used to think I was getting healthier because I used to get soy milk in it. Yeah. And those alone are like 500 calories. That's you might as well.
Wow.
I might as well.
You saw what the soy did for Monday, Matt. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
Like 2 Big Macs. Because sometimes I would get those twice a fucking day.
That's about what a Big Mac is. A Big Mac's like 610 calories.
So we got to talk about PKA.
Okay.
How did it start, and what the hell happened that made the fallout with you them happen? I mean,
okay, wait a second. Before we get to the PKA thing, and all jokes aside, all he did was, because of the surgery and whatever, all he did was substitute the physical substance, if you will, or the solids with liquids. So either way, he still figured out a way to keep the weight on. Well, to put the weight back on, I should say. And yet again, it goes back to the reward system. When you see those cuts, for example, when you watch like a Fat Man video or Hired Hoodlum or whoever your detractor of choice is when it comes to wings, when they make those jump cuts of him picking up and leaving and coming back, how many yoo-hoos do you think you've seen him? Do you see him drink in maybe a 17-minute video? How many? Well, I don't think he drinks too much sweet tea anymore. Crystal Light theoretically doesn't have anything theoretically. How many bags of chips do you think he may go through? Or how big of a bag of chips did he actually grab the first time, and how much of it did he eat? Or as of late, he's been eating sandwiches on stream. He's been doing all kinds of shit. He's been wilding the fuck out. He was eating Zaxby's not too long ago. I mean, when you start putting it all together, he's figured out a way to supplement himself the way he wants to supplement himself, despite the fact that he shouldn't be doing it. But make of that what you will.
Do you want to go like how did PKA start, like back at the very beginning?
Yeah, how did it start, and what I know, like explain what happened with you with the weight loss with Kyle and how the fallout happened where you're no longer on there.
Well, in the beginning, there was another podcast called Host Migration. It had Hutch and Scene Anners and a third person, which I forgot his name. But it was three friends. They did a show called Host Migration, and at the time, like me, Kyle, and Woody were like friends from like doing like dual comms and things with each other. We were on our own little clique, and I think our sub base would really enjoy more content and seeing us on a more personal level if we just recorded our Skype conversations.
Okay.
And at the same time, I was like, I shot him the idea of Opie and Anthony. Opie and Anthony is a shock jock radio broadcast from like Sirius XM. Which they've fallen apart now at this point, but like at the time they were big. And like Kyle was down with the idea, Woody not so much. So like me and Kyle made a couple videos. We asked for some donations to get like Podbean started and like all the startup money, because there wasn't money in YouTube at that point.
No, not back then. No.
There was no money in YouTube at a point. Like you did it just because you liked it. The only money you made was like when you uploaded on Machinima's channel. And when you uploaded to Machinima's channel, you put it in this thing called Dropbox, and you just hope they put it up at some point.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember Machinima. If you were on Machinima, it was like considered like a badge of honor. It's amazing how times have changed.
Yeah, and like, but so like, you got paid quarterly. You got paid 4 times a year back then. So like, we accepted donations and we started Podbean and we started it up, and we actually asked Woody to just sit on for the first show and see how he liked it. And Woody agreed to sit on for the first show. I don't think we had a guest on the first show. I think Woody was the guest on the first show, and Woody liked it, and we decided to do it again, and it just kind of became its own thing. And like we everybody put in extra effort to make it happen. I mean, during the first 60 episodes, I think there was like 6 of them that one host with 3 guests happened, because at the time Kyle was doing like FPS Russia, so he was flying all around the world. Woody had, other obligations. There was no money in it, so like it was like a labor of love at that point. It went on forever. Then the FPS boot camp thing happened. Kyle came to me and had a proposition. He goes, Jordy. Well, he called me Wings. He's never called me Jordy. He's always said Wings. Wings, let me make you an offer. Would you like to have $5,000? Sure. Would you like to fuck any porn star that you can pick? Sure. Would you like to lose 50 pounds? I like where this is going. And he laid it out. He's like, I want to bring you to my house. We're going to do a month boot camp. You're going to lose 50 pounds. And afterwards, you're going to shoot a porno with any porn star on the roster. And they're going to pay you $5,000.
I never heard about that part. I mean, I heard about the boot camp, the FPS boot camp.
I didn't hear nothing about that porn star thing either. That's new to me. That's brand fucking new to me.
Yeah, that was the whole spiel. Like I backed out of the porno.
Smart move, but continue.
Yeah, and the reason I did that is because I was worried about like future employment finding, because I've never had any inclination like this will last forever. Right. But so we went and did the boot camp, and the boot camp was hazy because like one huge shock to the system. Like I went from eating Big Macs one week to having be on lock and key and having everybody else control my caloric intake. I went from having, no physical activity to huge physical activity, which I felt like I did well with the FPS boot camp. I think I took it well. It wasn't professionally done by any means. Like it was, but at the same time, like I thank Kyle for the opportunity. There was some downsides to it, like I was ready to go home during the middle of it because I got homesick, and I was just having a mental breakdown. And Kitty talked me out of it. And during that same day, the PKA was there, and I didn't want to be on PKA, but I kind of went on it like an hour late, and it was just a terrible show. It was just a whole like finger pointing kind of like gang up on wings kind of day. But like toward the end of PKA, it was always gang up on wings. And a lot of the reason PKA was like what it was because I was in a bad place mentally towards the end of it.
I was about to say, was that gang up maybe partially your own doing?
Yeah, most likely. Yeah. I remember one time I skipped PKA to go to like a concert because I felt like I needed to get out the house because, cabin fever is a bitch.
Oh, I know.
And I came to him ahead of time, and I'm like, yo, I really want to go to this concert on, I think it was Thursday. I think we did it on Thursday at that time. It was a Flogging Molly concert, so it wasn't the biggest concert in the world, but I wanted to go to the concert, and they couldn't adjust. And I remember Woody specifically saying, well, you got to show up for work. And I'm like, well, expect me to be there, but I'm not going to be there. And like he didn't take that too well. Where I told him like, yo, I'm just like, you can expect me to be there all you want. But I'm going to the concert. Like I'm trying to be nice by like, yo, let's push it back to Saturday or Sunday, whatever it is, because we still weren't getting paid for PK at that time. Like I wasn't like, well, that's kind of a lie. We got paid these little advertisements that fans would pay for.
Okay. Like
you had like the YOLO Boys is the only one I can remember off the top of my head. Like we didn't get like now they have like Dollar Shave Club and like Squarespace and things like that pay them for like advertising spot. But we were basically doing like ghetto advertisements. So we'd make like $250 a month or something like that each off of like all the advertisements for that month. But I would still consider PK was not monetized at that point.
When did you officially?
You're still being paid though. You're still compensated, no matter how small it is. Remember, this is supposed to be like a passion project, so to speak. So you're still being compensated in some type of way. So I don't know if I would have gone as far as saying, Wings expect to show up to work. But I get the premise. You know what I'm saying? People put their money down. I mean, I guess you got to punch in. I guess it's lights, camera, action. So I get it. Now the question is, how far in advance did he tell them that he was gonna go to this concert? Because if he gave them like a week's notice or something, then that's reasonable. If he waited till the show was on Thursday, I think he said, if you tell them Monday, well, then yeah, that's a little too close to our target date, Wings. Let's be honest.
Ways the PKA.
I got voted off right after the PKA survival trip.
Why did you bail on that? I was just about to ask you about that.
Me lying mainly. Like I bigged it up because I really wanted to do something like that, and I still really want to do something like that. Like all of us were like fans of like Les Stroud and like Survivor Man and like Man, Woman, Wild. We love those survival shows where people go out into the woods and they like live off the land, build shelters, catch their food, real manly kind of stuff. And like I love those shows, and we all said, let's do one. Let's go out in the woods of North.
I don't think you understand or realize the amount of preparation that goes into something like that. Like even Man vs. Wild, right? Like even though some of that got exposed later, that's why Les Strauss ended up appearing to have more credibility for a couple of reasons. Actually, now I think about it, because if you think Man vs. Wild, right? The dude on there, I apologize, I can't think of his name at the moment. He would put himself in some pretty fucking harsh situations to give you guys an understanding of what it's like to put yourself in there. Like I remember he threw himself into like quicksand or some shit, and he waited until he got himself into a pretty good spot. Like if you were panicking and how far you slide down or how far you can easily be sunken into it. And then he showed you how to get out. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. He put himself into quite a bit. At the same time, keep in mind, he had a cameraman. I think he might have even had two of them. I can't remember. There's like two guys there, and then it's just him. None of them can give him any help, but these guys are doing all the filming and everything. Whereas with Les Strauss and in the other show, he literally has all the camera equipment. He literally is doing the exact same thing, but there's nobody out there to help him. He has to do all the filming. He has to do all that shit. He has to cut everything down. He has to make shit happen, and that's rough. That's real rough. So I think both of them had their each show had their own strengths and weaknesses in their own way. But I think that I think the dude who was out there and actually had to film the shit himself, he had it the worst. He had it pretty bad. But then that's why Man vs. Wild had to put himself in, I think, in more and more dangerous situations, because one is the risk factor. Like, these are the type of things that are going to happen to you or could happen to you, and so on and so forth. I don't know. It depends, I guess, on how you look at it. But I used to watch both. You can still find them on YouTube. They're actually they're really good watches if that's something that you're into. You should definitely check them out respectfully. But the point being, both of the men of those shows respectfully will tell you, there's a lot of preparation that goes into that, a lot of research. You can't just go out there butt naked and just make shit happen just for the experience. If you don't have some type of preparation in place, one of y'all could get really hurt, if not worse.
North Carolina and stay 5 days. And I was down with it, even though I was the heaviest of the group, and I had hyperglycemic issues and things like that. But
and he might have been the most prone to injury, especially going up and down certain degrees of terrain and so on and so forth. He would be more than likely to hurt or sprain an ankle or whatever the case may be, as well as other things. He may be most susceptible of having a panic attack out there. There's a lot of things, dude. Shit, he could easily... It could have been a mess. Now I think about it. It just didn't sound like a good idea. Now that I think about it, it doesn't really sound like a good idea. If they were staying in a cabin, that's one thing. But you're talking about roughing it out there in the woods? Let's hear more of the parameters first, though.
They were really pushing on a certain date when I wanted a different date. I wanted like something in the summer, and they wanted it in April, and it was a really cold April that year, and it was really rainy. And the closer they got into, they started talking about walking 10 miles into the woods without a compass. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if I can walk 10 miles. And it's like the perception in my head was worse than what it actually was when they actually did it. Like, to me, we were going to walk in the woods. We were going to let like park rangers know where we're at. And we get checked up on, like every, 12 hours or something. You'd have like a park ranger come by and like, hey, you guys doing? And it wasn't that at all.
But did you still agree to it? And like, I think it was Kyle.
I agreed to it, but like 3 days beforehand, I backed out.
I thought Kylo was waiting for you somewhere, and at like the very last minute.
Kyle left early.
I didn't hear that either. It wasn't 3 days. Like, he literally backed out. Like, Kyle was already like 3 or 4 hours out. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was already driving in. Like, he was already 3 or 4 hours out from where the place was going to be, and he was going to stop at a hotel, rest up there, and then they could all, Wing could meet him there, whatever. They you know what I'm saying, they stay the night at the hotel, and then they go ahead and meet Woody, and then they would head out there the next morning, or all three of them were going to rendezvous there. I can't remember exactly how the scenario was, but Wings legit called out. I thought he called out like the day before. I feel like it was a lot closer than 3 days, a lot closer than that.
Okay.
Kyle left 3 days early because he had to drive from Georgia to North Carolina, and he was going to stay at a hotel up in North Carolina and just meet us when we went to go. So Kyle didn't know about it. So it seemed like to Kyle, I backed out at 0 hour. But I remember talking to Woody about it, and Woody says, it's too close. You can't back out now. And I'm like, I'm not coming.
Okay.
And like...
Now, remember that theory I kind of told you? It was all a theory, by the way. But you remember that hypothetical theory that I had earlier about how, how Woody may have formulated all of that with the sponsorship and knowing that Wings may have backed out and so on and so forth. I'm not saying that this gives any more credence like, oh, okay, so Woody knew that you were backing out 3 days beforehand and still let all this happen to fuck over the whole situation. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that even from a hypothetical standpoint, if Woody in any type of way, shape, or form had any type of feeling or inclination that Wings may go ahead and back out of this shit, when you see how everything happened later on, right? When you see how everything happened later on, you can kind of understand how everything fell out the way it did, if you think about it. Because I don't know. Like I said, because Wings has always been closer to Woody than Kyle. So I don't know what he told, I don't know what he told Woody or what he didn't. To be honest, I don't think no one knows. That's just between the two of them. But I feel like 3 days out, it's too close either which way. But if, let's say that was true. Let's say this is true, this situation. Then Woody should immediately have told Kyle, like, hey man, he's acting shaky right now. So I'm gonna talk him into it. He'll be out there, but I just want to let you know now, he's getting kind of squirrely. So just so you know, it's a thing. But yet again, all a theory, of course.
I went into this and he tweeted about it, and then I had the entire PKA fan base attack me while they went on this trip, and I was live streaming at that point a little bit, and they hit me while I was on a live stream, and like I kind of said some shit. I forgot what I said, but it was negative towards them, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and they kind of dropped me afterwards. Now,
you and Woody he actually called you out in one of the PKA episodes because you said you had a better screen presence. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but it was pretty damn close.
Charisma.
Better charisma.
Yeah.
How did you feel about when Woody, because Woody actually was kind of like always on your side a lot, and when he kind of went off like that, what was your reaction?
To be honestly, I don't recollect this whole story. I know what you're talking about, but I don't know all the details in my head. Okay. So I can't tell the story with justice. But like Woody, I don't know how to say this without being offensive. Like to me, Woody's personality has always come off rather generic. Like when he tries to have charisma, it falls flat. Like he's not the kind of guy that can tell a story and have the entire room enthralled with it. And to me, that's what charisma is. Charisma is a guy that can tell you can have a conversation about peeling an orange, and you want to know how he peeled that orange. And that's just not a talent that Woody naturally gives off. Woody's an interesting person. And I would go so far as say Woody is the closest thing to a father figure I've ever had in my life. And I love Woody to death. But some of his stories are like listening to paint dry.
Okay. I mean, I watch him on PKA. I don't see that personally, but I mean, you've known him longer, so I'm just, I'm taking.
I personally have heard that story about where like the guy came in from his basement and he was sleeping on the couch and he would like take some money out of his wallet. I think I've heard that story at least 25 times, legitimately.
From Woody?
Yeah, from Woody, yeah.
So that when you said that, so you still stand behind the fact that you don't think he has that charisma?
I don't think it matters, honestly. Like, I don't remember what made me say that, but there was something, there was like a crux that made me go there, and I don't remember what made me go there. That's why I said I don't know all the details of the story. All right. Like, there's some reason I called his charisma out. It wasn't just random, like, well, fuck Woody. That's just not the way it was. Like, I don't try to do that.
So let's go into somebody else that who has been in our arch, I guess you could say somewhat of arch.
I don't know. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I feel like most of the time, I've never actually sat there. No, that's not true. I've watched a couple of PKs. I don't know. He kind of just chimes in. I've never actually heard him have like a real drawn out segment. It's usually Kyle or the other guy, to be honest. And like I said, Woody kind of just chimes in or whatever. One of his main things, I think, is he just makes sure that the podcast keeps moving in a timely manner. So he's very good about that. And it's like, I don't know. It's like someone that you listen to. It's like listening to not necessarily a boss, if you will. Like You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just, I don't know. He just keeps the conversation moving. You know what I'm saying? If you will. I don't know. I've never looked at it any deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Kind of like when you go back and watch some of his old Call of Duty commentary. It is what it is. He makes his points. You know what I'm saying? You know, the gameplay keeps it all going, and that's kind of it. I never really looked into it any deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? And I guess after you watch him for a little while, you don't really expect that. Like what he plays to his strengths, and that's kind of that, as we all should. Not to say that you shouldn't branch out, but you have to kind of at least get what you're good at down first before you start branching off to other stuff.
Nemesis of yours, Keemstar.
Keemstar, yeah.
How I remember the whole thing where you doxed him, or supposedly doxed him.
Well, he doxed himself.
He doxed himself. Okay.
Here's the thing with that.
Okay.
This was early Machinima days.
When he was doing FAG. When he was doing FAG.
Yeah, he was FAG. Keemstar was much smaller than everybody else. Like, he didn't get the recognition that all the other guys are getting on Machinima. I don't know if he was Machinima at the time. He might have been. But he was attacking me for months. Just straight months. Like, he was in my only income at that, because I just came off the factory job, and my only income at that point was my Machinima checks and like kickback from, like, I would charge people for like friend slots. And like, I know that sounds assholish right off at the face value to charge people for friend slots, but back in the day, you only had 100 of them. And like, I have like all these people begging for friendships, and like in my mind, like, to weed out like people that aren't serious, because you'd accept somebody's friend invite and they go missing for 4 months. To weed out people that weren't serious, I'd like, hey, give me 1,600 Microsoft points. And like, some people did, some people didn't. You know, it's what it was.
$20, I guess, or something like that. Anyway, either which way, the point being is, with stuff like that, and then Wings talking about views and so on and so forth, like, you made yourself an easy target. I'm not saying that justifies Keemstar attacking him if that's exactly how the story went, but you made yourself a target. Like, you picked at things that you were doing. You didn't have to let it. I mean, you didn't have to let it get to you, but it is what it is, I guess.
Or, you know, the equivalent of 1,600 Microsoft points was like $20 or something like that. So that was my only income, and I was still on unemployment at the time, as well. So, hold up, let me backtrack that, because like, I got a guy right now trying to get me for tax evasion. I don't know if I was on unemployment at the time, but like, my money was slim back then.
I don't know. You said that with a whole lot of confidence. And yeah, there are actually some people over there that are legit trying to build a case against him for tax evasion. So keep that in mind. And if they catch anything on Wings slipping like that, you know you can definitely catch DSP slipping. So keep that in mind as well.
And Keemstar was coming at me trying to get me kicked off of Machinima. I forgot what his reasoning was, but like, I was not in a good headspace, because like, again, like, I was playing Call of Duty 12 hours a fucking day. I was doing 3 commentaries a day, doing 3 YouTube videos a day. Even if they're low quality, it's effort, right? Getting 3 COD gameplays, 3 quality every day of your life. So 7 days a week, I'm doing 21 videos a week or more.
Yeah, but you're playing 12 hours worth of COD. No wonder he hates that shit. Just like DSP. Like, you sat there and you burnt yourself out. You guys burnt yourself out. There are plenty of... Don't get me wrong. I understand these guys are fishing for gameplays, because, yet again, I've told you guys the story. That's what these guys do. They fish for gameplays. But Jesus Christ, 12 hours? 12 hours a day to get 3 videos up. Nah, B. You're playing the game wrong, fam. Like I said, win, lose, or draw, post that shit. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're entertaining and at least the gameplay is somewhat captivating, whether a win or a loss, who gives a shit? Whatever.
And this guy's sitting there trying to get me kicked off Machinima, which is my only hope for making the job I have at the time succeed. So I went looking for Keemstar's information, and I was given Keemstar's information. and like we had this little like rendezvous on Machinima where we kind of like buried the hatchet. And after they stopped recording, I gave him his information to try to say, look, you shouldn't do this to people because like there's consequences to your actions.
So
That
basically, you try
conversation-
to bully him. You try to blackmail him and say, "Hey, I got your information. You may want to stop what you're doing, even though supposedly they're supposed to be burying the hatchet. Because if not, I can get you just like you can get me. So you fuck me on Machinima, I'm gonna go ahead and fuck your life up." That's basically what he's saying.
That was recorded where you were reading off his info. That was private. That was a private.
That was private. Yeah, that was after because we had Sark there, me and Keemstar, and the commentary was done. It's on Machinima. You can probably still find it. That was done after the fact. It was recorded by Keemstar himself and released by Keemstar.
Okay, I didn't know that part. I didn't know.
And
that.
like, because like I mean like Mr. Sark was there right there with us.
But do you
And, like,
do you understand why Keemstar recorded it and then released it though? He released it so you wouldn't have any power over him. You know what I mean? Because keep in mind, he didn't just read off Keemstar, his full name, where he lived, mailing address and all that bullshit. I think he had the post office box and all that shit. He ain't sat there and exposed shit about the woman that Keem was with at the time too. He ain't read off some of her shit. So yet again, it was Wings trying to bully Keem, and Keem was like, if I remember correctly, Keem was like, "Hey man, you can go ahead and keep reading that shit off if you want, but I don't give a fuck. This changes nothing. And then now you're giving me even more reason to come at your neck." So it's middle finger up at you all day, Wings, because I know you like bullying people, this, that, and third. White Boy 7th Street has accused Wings of doing that as well. This doesn't change anything. Congratulations, you ain't fucked up. So now it's game on, if you want to play this way. And if I remember correctly, Wings said he passed Keemstar's information to Fisticuff. Now, why Fisticuff? I don't know why Fisticuff would want it, but whatever, because he wasn't even in that drama at the time, if I remember correctly. But Fisticuff is an extremely interesting, is a wealth of information when it comes to YouTube Call of Duty drama. Like, he knows the skinny on just about all that shit back in the day. If I could ever find any of those videos, we might go over a few of them. But I don't know why Wings would have passed it off to Fisticuff. I don't know why Fist would even want it.
I was just reading it off to him as like, you shouldn't be doing this to people, affecting people's
trying
livelihood.
to intimidate him.
Because it's like there is repercussions for this kind of stuff.
So, I think the thing that bothered Keemstar, didn't you have a debate with him almost like a year and a half ago, where because you wished he would die, or you said you wanted him to die, and what made
No,
you...
I said that if there was a person on this earth that could die and I would lose no sleep over, it would be Daniel Keem.
Why did you say that? That's rough. That's pretty brutal, man. There's some people I strongly dislike that I would not wish death on them.
I have a long history with Keemstar. Mainly, he tried to take my job from Machinima early on. There's many times he's went on PK and like just went above and beyond like dickishness. Like there was one time we were like doing like the road to Call of Duty, which is like something we used to do, where we try to call and get like a GameStop employee to sell us a Call of Duty. It was all fun, tongue in cheek. We never expected to get it, but like he called like Make-A-Wish and tried to get the Make-A-Wish kids, Call of Duty copies from the GameStop place, and like he would always take it above and beyond and everything, and like hanging out with him in real life, like the Billionaires Bash and stuff. Like I didn't value him as like a person, but like at the same time, like I never took into the fact some people change, right? And to me, that's not. And thinking back on it now,
value him as a person. If you got to the point where you don't care if a person lives or dies, why the fuck would you give a fuck if they change, or if they could change?
It's not fair. I was always judging Keemstar based on his persona from 10 years ago, not from his persona nowadays. Because I don't know Keemstar now, because we don't go in the same circles. But like back in the day, Keemstar was a piece of shit, and like he's the kind of dude I wouldn't want to associate with back in the day.
Now,
and that's
was he? Because
some people still feel that way now.
always always hear a lot from people behind the scenes that it's a persona and it's not really him. Was his do you think it's a persona that makes him a quote unquote piece of shit, or do you think that's actually how he was as a person? Because
I can only say what I've seen. Like, who he was on camera was who he was off camera back in like 2009, 2010.
Okay, that's interesting, because I hear a lot differently from that.
But like I said, I've only had like 3 interactions with him in person. So take that with what you will.
So how are you now with...
Wait a second. Rich is being a bitch. And the reason why I say that is because you've been beefing with Keemstar too. Matter of fact, if I remember correctly, didn't you take the knee to Keemstar on a Ralph retort willing to show your flagging history and trying to bury the hatchet with him? And that was after the Monday match situation. And that was after the Monday match situation, because people were like, wait a second, didn't Rich's trolls basically caused Monday Matt to dox himself, because I would assume because they're cool with each other or whatever. And like I said, Rich had been beefing with Keemstar for a long ass time too. So wait a second, why the fuck are you gonna sit there and try to pass this shit off like Keem isn't that bad of a dude when you know exactly what Keem can do, and you've had your interactions and you've had your problems with him as well? Well, that's a bit dishonest.
The guys from PKA, Kyle and Woody, do you have any kind of contact with them, or?
I didn't have contact with him when I was on the show, honestly. Like, we just showed up. We showed up like I showed up here and did a show once a week for the most part.
And that's it. You never talked to them outside of PK?
I mean, like toward the middle and end of it, no, not really.
Is that because you guys had falling outs because of what was going on? Is that,
we just like different games. Like,
yeah, but what does that have to do with anything? Just because you like different games doesn't mean that you guys can't talk to each other. How the fuck do you consider somebody like a father figure, or the closest thing to a father figure, and you never spoke to him outside of a podcast that you guys did weekly? Yeah, that I'm gonna have to click X to doubt on that.
We played different video games. Like Woody played.
Wait,
like,
now that I think about it too, why would Kyle be willing to have you come live with him if he didn't really talk to you like that? And on top of that too, there's some aspects that I should probably talk about a little bit. When Kyle invited Wings to come stay with him for the boot camp thing, the FPS boot camp, he was Kyle's told the story before. It's somewhere on YouTube, you can find it, where he's in his shower and he ends up bumping his elbow, and he's like, oh, god damn. He's like, that really hurt. And then he's like, Jesus Christ, it's really narrow in his shower. And then he realizes, oh shit, Wings is not going to be able to fit in here. Like, it's not possible. So this dude went ahead and completely did his bathroom, like redid his whole bathroom to accommodate Wings. And he did some other things too, like that cost him some real money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cost him some real money. But this guy not only brought you into his life and tried to help you out, but he made adjustments, large financial adjustments, as well as other things. I'm sure that benefited him later. That was also to not only accommodate you, but to make sure that you had the most comfortable situation possible. So I'm supposed to believe that you weren't close to these guys, or you didn't talk to these people when these guys were willing to go, in some cases, above and beyond to help you? Huh.
I forgot what Woody was playing, but like, we just played different stuff. Like, we just never interacted other than PK for the last bit of it.
So you are, after all this, you are where you are now, and you said in the beginning of this, you despise gaming. Basically, you said if you didn't live stream, or you would never pick up a controller again. Or is that true? Like, if you,
I can't say 100% certain. Like, there's certain games I'd probably play if they came out. Like, Fallout 5 got announced, I'd probably go buy and play Fallout 5. But like there's games I'll be playing here soon I don't give a shit about, like Resident Evil 3. Don't care if that's there. I bought Doom. I wouldn't have bought Doom if I wasn't streaming.
Really? Doom is fucking awesome, man. Seriously? I'd love Doom.
Like, I like it too. It's all right, but like, is it $60 awesome? No, not to me. Not particularly. Like, There's all kinds of games I would buy. Like if they made another Dark Souls, I'd buy that. Like Elden Ring, I'd buy that if I didn't play. But would I bought Sekiro? No. Like I wouldn't have bought Sekiro if I wasn't streaming.
So,
Like,
dude, if it's making you, I know it's not simple, and I'm not trying to make it black and white where it's a gray area, but if it's making you miserable, why don't you begin the steps to, I mean, you know, you're still a heavyset dude.
money.
But there's nothing you could do even from home, maybe like even medical coding or something like that, that could make you the same money where you wouldn't have to deal with the shit?
I haven't looked that deeply into it, but like money's the big issue because like there's nothing around here that makes like the money I'm making right now. Nothing. Like the only realistic job opportunity I have makes like $15 an hour. And
but even if you made less and only that $15 an hour, if it helped your sanity and helped you be happier, wouldn't, even if it was somewhat of a pay cut, wouldn't that be worth it?
I think a lot of that stems from the job I had before YouTube. Like, as much as I hate YouTube and streaming, I hated working in a factory more.
Did you really?
Yeah, like I remember wanting to go to work and like I wish somebody would T-bone my truck and just break just this one leg so I can get like 6 weeks off.
Wow. So, you know, I never heard you say that in a stream, and I've watched you on streams before. So you hated what you did before more. So,
Yes.
So dealing with the trolls and shit now,
The only downside with dealing with the trolls is the fact they always try to get me shit canned. I hate that.
but see, that's where don't you think if you interacted with them less, that would be more beneficial to you? Don't you
It's
think?
hard. It's hard.
I know it's hard, dude.
Especially like I have a hard time like multitasking, like playing a game and then looking over and interacting with chat.
Oh, I suck dick with it too.
Yeah, like so when I go over, I look for something and I usually grab the biggest thing I see on the screen. I'm like, all right, let me read this in my head real quick and then read it out loud. And it's usually always a troll comment. It's like, you motherfucker.
Well, let me tell you.
And it's like spilling a glass of milk and you have 15 people come by and tell you you're a fuck up.
Well, listen, as a person who was, I mean, there's sometimes I still trip up, man. I'm a loudmouth Italian with a short temper, so I lose my shit occasionally too. As a guy who used to react just as much as you did, I can tell you this, and people used to tell me, Rich, you're feeding the trolls, don't feed the trolls. I'm telling you, that's the biggest weapon you have. They were so fucking right, and I didn't realize it for like 6 years. I used to, every time someone said something negative, I used to react to every single thing. When I stopped, I mean, I still have people come in my comments when I'm live streaming saying you're a fat shit, go kill yourself, blah, 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 blah.
Well, sometimes you read that shit without realizing it too.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
If somebody donates something, they'll start out nice, like, "Hey, Wings, love your stream. I hope you die in a fucking automobile wreck." It's like, oh shit.
Oh yeah, they'll get me, or I'll get a super chat and it ends up being a troll because I'll go check their channel and they have no history whatsoever. That shit's gonna happen. But when I ignored, let's say 98% of it to be conservative, it took away so much power from them. And I think you could do.
He had already lost. I'm talking about Rich now. Rich had already lost the war by that time. He had already lost the war at that time. It's not like, oh, I stopped one day and they stopped. That's not necessarily the case. He had already lost. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they had already outed him for being such a piece of shit. They kind of showed what kind of collateral damage that would be caused by being associated with him. They caught him in so many different lies or inconsistencies and so on and so forth. He was done. Like, when I mean done, I'm not saying he'd be kicked off of YouTube or he wouldn't be able to put up videos and make money or anything. I'm just saying, like from a reputation standpoint, that shit was fucking ruined. Like, they had him damn near dead to rights at that point. Especially with what happened with what was that, Killer Comedy and whatnot. Like, after the nonsense that happened with that, you know what I'm saying, and how far Review Tech Rich was willing to go to try to stamp him out, and sitting there putting his information out there and all, just, nah. He gave up because he lost. And he had been losing. He had been losing that shit. And the reason why is because he thought he was smarter than they were. Because, dude, there's all kinds of fucking talk out there about him threatening certain people to get them to stop, or him threatening people to try to get him to dox other people. The alleged allegations that are out there against Rich and some of the paperwork that can corroborate it is redunculous. It's stupid to see how far he went with that bullshit. All because he thought he was smarter. And, excuse me, yet again, another person who was probably looking at DSP and thinking, oh, well, DSP can fight them off and so can I. Nah, that's not how that works, champ. Look at Phil now. So don't yet again, I don't want you guys to get the impression that ReviewtechUSA just woke up one day and decided to be a fucking adult. No, that's not what happened. He had lost to those people. And then all those other YouTubers and stuff that he tried to take shots at, or he thought were taking shots at him, and they baited him into all kinds of shit and had him running around playing like, you know what I'm saying, like some, you know, puppet. You know what I'm saying? That they had him made him, or as El Presidor would say, the many content creators that made Rich dance, nah, he had lost. That's why he gave it up. He gave it up because he fucking lost. And if he kept going, he was going to eventually lose everything.
Do that, man. Now I get what you're saying. You're in a tight spot because those trolls actually make you some money, right? Mm-hmm. But is it worth the stress that they give you for the money that you make?
Like the stress, I can't talk about that. The stress mainly stems from like them always wanting to report me. That's mainly the stress, because like yeah, I could go to YouTube after the fact because I still have my channel monetized on YouTube and I could stream there. But like Twitch Prime is such a huge part of my income.
If you have your channel monetized and you can still stream over there, doesn't Wing say though that none of his videos are monetized because he's not with an MCN? But he obviously still has his Google AdSense, and there's no reason why he wouldn't. And obviously, it's still in full swing. So why wouldn't he be still making money off his YouTube channel? What the fuck? Son of a bitch. And then Wing said not too long after this that, oh, I deleted all the videos off my channel, so on and so forth. Come to find out he didn't. He only privated them. And then eventually he put them back. God damn it, Wings. God damn it.
And like Twitch has treated me right for a long time, like with like game deals, bits, Twitch Prime, like opportunities to grow my channel. Like I have some of the coolest like bosses ever.
So they wouldn't have your back.
Interesting. Okay, so like I said, this all could be a lie too, but keep in mind. So all this stuff is working out for you, but yet DSP's all fucked up. How? But yet DSP's able to get dudes deplatformed though. What the fuck?
They do a lot. They have my back a lot. But at the same time, like for example, like I was talking about Vanishing Point on my stream the other day, and I went to YouTube to show the Vanishing Point trailer, and I've forgotten in the Vanishing Point trailer there's like side boobage.
Oh no!
And like I got hit for that, and like you know it's going to get anything like that is going to get reported. Like if I didn't have an army of trolls, that wouldn't have got reported, but I do. So like I hate being on edge like that. You know what I'm saying?
It is, but I'm telling you, if you didn't react as much, a lot of that, because here's the thing that they're looking, I see the YouTube channels, they're looking for anything, even to take you out of context. They're looking
like
for
today,
anything.
for example, like I streamed today, right?
Okay.
And I played Diablo 1. I don't know if you played Diablo 1.
Boy, back
I played Diablo 1 for like 4 hours today. It was a great stream. You know, like the interaction could have been better. We listened to music, chilled out. But somebody goes, if I gave you $15,000 for a Ford Raptor, could you buy one? I'm like, I could use it as a down payment. So I went to Car Gurus and started showing off Ford Raptors. And then I didn't realize that I had bought my Mustang through Car Gurus. It had like my phone number right there.
Oh no.
So like, it's like, oh, so I had to change my phone number today. And like, that's the big thing. And then, and another thing that happened is like a guy was restreaming my stream. So I striked his channel, and that's another big thing.
See, that's the thing. I got to keep it real with you. I wouldn't do that. People take my stuff all the time. People.
Well, the only reason I did it is because he's one of my chargebackers that runs that channel.
All right, I'll give you a little slack with that one. But that kind of stuff, though. And here's the thing: when people, like, I see a lot of times you say ban this word, ban that word. That's like the worst thing, in my personal opinion, that you could do. Why do you do that? Because I get spammed all the time too, and I just ignore it.
A lot of it is because I don't like. I get irritated when I read it over and over again. Like if you, it could be anything. You could say like the word shenanigans. Like if everybody in chat's using the word shenanigans, it will irritate me, and it gets under my skin, and they know it.
But that's the thing, man. You can't, like, I've been there, so this is not me talking. If you ignore it, even if it bothers you internally, they'll eventually give up and you'll deal with it less. I literally am living proof of that as someone who used to do the same thing. And that that I think is your biggest, is that they love the fact that you react. Even when you just say ban something, that's a video for one of these guys. That's a video for one of them. I watch some of their videos purposely sometimes because I know they overreact, and I'm like, what he did there isn't that big of a fucking deal. Like, how do you even? They're trying to make it into it. It's literally clickbait. Like, I'll watch it and it's like, oh, Wings freaks out,
and I think a lot of it is because like they want that huge freak out again, and like I don't give it. I feel like I'm doing better because I don't give them the huge freak out anymore.
You are doing better, but you still, as a person who's done it, you still react too much. You haven't done a look here, listen. You haven't done that in a very long time, which is good.
And one thing that I do react, and I probably always react on, is I'm competitive in video games, and I play stuff like Rainbow Six. If you ever played Rainbow Six, it's a super hard game, especially if you play it like at the higher end, like, you know, skill levels. You get frustrated, especially when your teammates are doing dumb stuff. It's like, dude, why'd you do that?
That's not, I mean, like, fucking Ninja gets pissed off at that shit. That's not a big deal. You know, you're going to get, people get pissed off. Ninja gets pissed off. I was playing Doom and I wanted to punch my fucking screen.
Dude, that new Doom Nightmare is fucking brutal.
I was just playing on Hurt Me Plenty, and because I suck dick at video games, and that was kicking my ass. People were saying,
dude, I'm playing it on Nightmare, and like God, man, there's some parts of that game. It's like, how the fuck do you get through this? But you eventually get through it. You get better. It's a slow progression, and I love games like that. I love when a game challenges me to become a better person. That's why I've always been That's why I've always been a fan of Dark Souls. Like, the guy who starts Dark Souls is not the guy who beats Dark Souls. It's a completely different person.
I wish I had more time. I want to play Dark Souls so bad because it's like a spiritual successor to Castlevania for me, but I suck so fucking bad at it that I just can't. I have 3 kids and it's just not happening.
Yeah.
I wanted it, like Dark Souls 3, it's just such my game. Like, if I was like 15, I would have been an aficionado of that, but
see, I got into Dark Souls because it helped my anxiety.
What?
Yeah, I know. People give me that reaction all the time, but like Dark Souls to me calms my nerves because the how fluid the combat is and how smooth it is. Like it just feels like you're meditating when you're doing it right.
You are the first. I think you're the first fucking person I've ever talked to in my life that says that Dark Souls calms their nerves.
It does. It's rough when you fight like a new boss like 15 times, but there's no new bosses in Dark Souls. I know all of them. I know all their patterns, and I can beat most of them on the first try.
Get the fuck out of here. I just that just floors me. Like, you actually made me lose my train of thought. I've never heard someone. Well, then again, I have my intro guy, the guy who's in the intro of all my videos. He hates video games, but one of the toughest games I ever played in my life, getting over it with Benjamin, where it's like you're Vladimir Putin in a bowl of water, and you're supposed to get up a mountain and you can't. He loves that game, and it's the most frustrating game on the planet. So different strokes for different folks. So I don't know, but hey. That's crazy. That's a first for me.
But that's a part of my whole shtick, though. It's like I play games on the highest difficulty, and like I do that because, like, for me to enjoy a game, like even at a base level, I need it to force me to use every system in the game. I want it to challenge me.
Speaking of being competitive, I almost forgot about this. Back in the day with Syndicate, where you had that 1v1 with him.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the whole thing that you lost it with. I watched down the rabbit hole of you. Did you actually offer him money behind the scenes to make it so you would win a match? Was that true?
That was it's a half truth.
How is it a half? Okay, explain what's up with that.
Alki David told Keemstar to tell me that he wanted us to 1v1 on Battle Cam, and he'd pay us X amount of dollars. And if Syndicate would throw, he'd pay him even more.
This Alki or Keemstar?
Wait,
Keemstar's
the
telling me
dude
that.
didn't. What? That's not true. The conversation, because I saw that down the rabbit hole as well, and I think I don't know if Juno the King. I don't. I don't know if he actually did one on you too. But I know I saw it somewhere though where it shows the conversation, and basically it was like this. So this high roller basically wanted to have a rematch between Syndicate and Wings. Wings was like, they both agreed, and I can't remember how much money was up for grabs. I can't remember if it was 5,000. I don't know I can't remember if it was 10,000. It could have been 2,000. Whatever. Wings basically goes to him and he's like, "Hey, I need you to throw this match, right? And then we can kind of like split the difference on whatever." Because Wings needed the money, right? Wings definitely needed the money, but also he needed some of his ego, his pride back, because he lost the Syndicate the first time around. Also, and I don't know if this was actually in the actual transcripts, or if this is just me theorizing what Wings was going to try to do next. That would set up for that third match. You know what I'm saying? That last encounter, if you will. So he kind of needed Syndicate to throw that second time. And like I said, I think they were like split the profit up, or Wings only wanted a certain amount and Syndicate could have the rest as compensation or whatever. And if I remember correctly, Syndicate was like, "I've lost complete and total respect for you over this, Wings. I thought you were better than this. Don't contact me again," or something along those lines. But that had nothing to do with the person who's trying to facilitate the situation to get Syndicate to throw. That was Wings wanting Syndicate to throw it.
Yes.
Oh,
But
Keemstar's
I
telling
assumed
you.
it was coming down from Alki David.
Okay.
So I passed it on to Syndicate, and that's where it stands.
So it wasn't you that initially made the offer to throw the
Right,
match.
I wasn't about to offer him like $3,000 to fucking lose to me. Like, I didn't have that kind of Skrilla.
That's interesting, man, because that changes the whole dynamic.
So why would Alki David or Keemstar, whoever the fuck, why would they go ahead and why would they have the message funneled through you to Syndicate? Why wouldn't they have just had Keemstar or whatever? Why wouldn't they have just had Keemstar tell Syndicate that? That don't make no sense, Wings. That makes no fucking sense. Hey, we're going to have you guys play a highly anticipated return match. There's big money on the line, but we want Syndicate to throw. So, Wings, you tell your opponent for this match with this money on the line to throw it to you, and we'll compensate him with X amount. Unless they were trying to build up for a third match, but even then, why would they tell Wings that? Just run that shit through Syndicate. That's the one they need to throw. The fuck?
Of it. That's a context is key thing, because so someone else was offering this Alki David was offering the money and Keemstar told you about it.
Well, he offered us both the same amount of money, which I think was like $3,000 a piece, to go have a rematch on Battle Cam. And then I think he was going to give it might have been $1,500, it might have been another $3,000. Like, he'd give him $6,000 if he lost.
And Syndicate said no to that. So that wasn't that came from.
Well, he took it right.
If he's going to pay you guys $3,000 each to come to the table and play this rematch, how much was going to go to the winner? I want you to try to think about the scenario for a minute. So two of you guys are going to be playing in this highly anticipated rematch. We're going to pay you guys $3,000 just to show up, but then Keem is going to run it through Alki David or whoever is going to run it through Keem, who's going to run it through Wings to Syndicate, that, hey, if you throw this match to me, they'll give you an additional $3,000 just to lose. So that means Syndicate walks away with $6,000. Well, how much goes to the winner? Outside of the $3,000 initially they're being paid to just come to the table. I don't know, Mike. I don't know.
When uploaded just what I told him, like I was offering him money, like clipped it right there, bang.
Oh shit! So that's pretty shady then. Why?
Well, he looked like what I was doing was shady. I guess it is a little shady, but the idea was like if he lost, there was going to be a third match, and the third match would have been straight up. But it's all about making money, and like creating
fair
drama.
enough, but then okay, so then what I theorized already kind of came to fruition. But yet again, why run that through you to syndicate? Why would one competitor tell another competitor that, hey, I need you to throw this to me? They'll give you $6,000. They'll instead of them paying you $3,000, they'll pay you $6,000, and that will lead us to the third and final match. Why wouldn't Keem or someone else do that? It would just seem like it has more credibility. What? I'm sorry, that don't make no sense.
So it was like a WWE move, basically. It was like
Right.
you lose a match, he loses a match, and then, you know, just to get more of an audience in, they were basically just kind of okay.
Right. Because he was trying to promote Battle Cam at the time, and something like that could have like drawn eyes to his product.
Huh. Okay.
Which Syndicate was not in this line of conversation at all. I just showed him what the offer was, and like he clipped it and put it right on his Twitter, like the instant.
That must have frustrated you because that made you look terrible.
Well, I was already looking terrible. It just made me look worse. It was like, fuck it. Like at the time I had the meltdown, which in hindsight the meltdown was whatever. It was whatever. I guess Syndicate made the right move. It made him look really good. And was he a millionaire now? Multi-millionaire? Something like that? He's not hurting.
It's interesting, man. A lot of people around you have been very successful. You have Kyle who was around you, Woody who was around you, Keemstar, Syndicate. All of them have seemed to have really
Succeeded.
up. Yeah.
Well, I like to put that with like one of the things I learned growing up was if you want to be successful, put yourself around people that are successful. And I'd like to say I'm a good judge of character when it comes to people, because you can see people's like you can see the person behind somebody, behind their personality, and is that person successful or not? There's people that have been successes like Kyle and Woody, but there's also people that didn't succeed that I felt like should have, like Lefty. Like to me, Lefty had the work ethic, the voice, and the talent to be a successful YouTuber. He just never clicked with him.
What do you think held you back from getting to that level of success? Yourself?
Me.
Okay, you own it. That's cool.
I'm perpetually lazy. I procrastinate too much, and like I always settle for less.
Now, yet again, that's why he won't get a real job, right? That's why he won't leave what he's doing. First off and foremost, that's why kind of Call of Duty ended up fucking him over. Well, he fucked himself over when it came to Call of Duty, and that's the reason why he's stuck doing what he's doing now. And yet again, doing content creation for YouTube, especially gaming content, isn't the easiest thing. There's a lot of stress that comes into it. There's a lot that goes into it in general at the end of the day, to be honest. But yet again, how is this the hardest fucking thing to be worrying about? It seems like that he was more worried about how other people were doing than himself. And because of that, the core product, which is him, it suffered. You know what I mean? Like, he failed. I mean, at least he admitted it. He failed because he failed. But at the end of the day, how the fuck do you fail at something like this? Especially in its early heydays when, yet again, you had a lot of advantages. Same thing with Darkside Phil. Phil failed because he's lazy, a piece of shit, and a piece of shit. Wings failed because he was too concerned about what people thought of him as it pertains to his style of play, which he should have just owned it. And he was watching other people's views and pockets instead of just being focused on what he's doing. That's what really hurt him more than anything else, I think. But damn. Especially in the heyday of Call of Duty, that shit printed itself. Even if he was only getting 100,000 views per video and everybody else was pulling 200,000 or 300,000, he's still in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? He can still he can still go up. He can still move up, I should say. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. Just yet again, just more wasted opportunity. Or wasted opportunities, I'm sorry. But just squandered it. Just squandered all the advantages these people had. That's fucking crazy, man. Absolute fucking crazy.
Think you could change that? Do you think you could turn that around now?
Hopefully one day. Like that, like, but at the time, like, it's like, at the time, like, money's not my main motivator. Like I'd rather make the same money I make now to the end of time and just be middle class and lose the weight versus like keeping the weight and be, syndicate level successful.
Do you think you could lose? What is your goal weight? 250?
250. 250.
Do you think by this time next year you could get to that if you focused?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, but like, am I going to be here at 250 this time next year? No.
Okay. At least you.
I mean, that's me being honest with myself. Like 2 days ago, I was supposed to start back on my diet, and I didn't.
What was your diet supposed to consist of?
120 ounces of water a day, 1,400 calories.
What have you been eating that kept you away from that? Like, what is something that...
Mainly the food I stocked up on for the quarantine.
What did you stock up on?
Like ramen noodles.
That's so bad for you. Dude.
Canned pasta for like Chef Boyardee. Things like I got like General Tso chicken things that you put in the oven and cook, and I have all this food in my house right now because I went and bought like $200 worth of food in case we got quarantined here in South Carolina. And it's like, now I can eat more, but like.
What I'll do is on Twitter, I'll send you a link to one of the bars that I eat. I don't know how picky you are with food, but they're
I eat anything that's not seafood.
Okay, it ain't seafood. I'll send them to you, man. Because I'm telling you could lose it, bro. I'm telling you.
I know I can lose it. I dropped 150 pounds in a year. Like, I can lose it. I just got to be motivated, and like it is what it is. It's like I just try to live my life one day at a time. I try to be the best person I possibly can be every day. And I know like all the stuff we talked about, and I'd like to put this as a caveat: all the bad shit we talked about and all the people we talked about, because we dropped a lot of names. I don't have hate for anybody in here. Like I love Woody, I love Kyle, I like Keemstar now. Like I don't even hate Syndicate. Like what he didn't do nothing wrong. All he did was win like a slow ass 1v1. Fuck it, right? Like I don't hate anybody, and like all this is compiled of like almost 10 years of drama we put into one little 2-hour segment. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I'm terrible at podcast racing right now.
No, it's you. What you got to do, man, and like I said, and it took me I'm a stubborn son of a bitch. Is learn from the mistakes you made, and go from here. And the one thing I'll tell you that I know it's tempting, dude, is keep your personal shit personal.
Yeah,
you're not you're guilty of it. I think DSP is more guilty of it, but. Even if you're having a bad day and you want to vent, the last thing you want to vent.
I think you were unfair to DSP.
I was unfair to DSP?
Yeah, I seen a video of like where you were giving him some bits and like you had like this rant on him, and he was like,
when you're trying to get him onto the podcast,
that he was like this is why people hate him and stuff like that. I don't think DSP's a bad person.
I don't think he is either, and I still wish the guy the best.
Idiots. I can't really take either one of y'all seriously up to this particular point, but whatever. You guys don't know. I mean, keep in mind, one's trying to connect with him, and the other one's trying to profit off of him. How can I take either one of you seriously?
I just think he has a bad way of dealing with his situation, and he's just not good at it.
His whole thing was, why didn't you... I actually talk about some Ordinary Gamers podcast I uploaded today where I interviewed him. He's like, why didn't you get me on my email or my cell phone? I don't have the motherfucker on speed dial. I don't know his number, and I don't know his email. He has like a Hotmail like it's still 2007.
Honestly, I have his email, and you're pulling teeth to get his email. Like, I wanted to get him on the podcast show, which was the podcast me and Jive and Eddie and I all did back in the day. And like, he made up every excuse not to go on it. And like, we weren't going to hit him with like, the troll stuff. We just wanted him on there because it's fucking Dark Side Phil. As much as people think he's like this degenerate loser that's $500,000 in debt, he's still a legend in our community. Like, everybody knows who Dark Side Phil is.
Yeah, everybody. Even like the biggest names out there have talked about him. Yeah.
And like, I've always said to myself, like, I'm like the Michael Jackson of fucking Call of Duty. Like, people know...
Oh, okay, I can't shit on you too. Michael Jackson. Oh shit. So when Wings did Look Here, Listen, that was his Thriller, right? Oh my god, when he did his dog whimper, that was off the wall, right? Oh shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. And this must be his Invincible, right? Or was it Invincible or Unbreakable? Damn, I can't remember now. Fuck, I should have had that Fluentry song then. I should have played that as the outro. Ah! Oh well. Too late now. Anyway, Michael Jackson, fucking Call of Duty. I don't know if I go that far. I have said though that Wings was certainly like the kingmaker. He was definitely like he could be, obviously it's a gross comparison, I should say, but you could say that he was like a Mark Anthony, if you will, when it comes to king making and this shit. I ain't gonna sit there and say he's fucking. I ain't gonna say he Michael Jackson or shit. Damn sure would never say he's Michael Jordan. Definitely never do any of that dumb shit. I wouldn't go that far. I don't know. I wouldn't go that far. Not at all. not at all. But see, then again, you guys are trying to big up, or you guys are trying to get Darkside Phil over, and that's not going to work because is he a legend in your community? He's notorious, maybe, or he's infamous, I would say. I wouldn't say he's famous. I mean, I guess there are famous people who are notorious, or notorious people that are famous, I should say. But to say that he's a legend in your community, it depends. Like, how is his legend for anything? Are we talking about anything positive, or just as being a disgraceful piece of shit that made all of you as gamers just look fundamentally like fucking morons, like fucking losers? And Phil is the embodiment of that. Someone who made more money than he ever could make playing video games and still figured out a way to fuck it up. So at the end of the day, what does he have to show for it? You don't have none of the money. You don't have any of the popularity, a whole lot of notoriety that he doesn't really want. And the very people who criticize him get elevated even quicker than he does. And Phil can't do shit about it. Even those who he deplatformed, all he did was give them even more power. He only made them even more loved, if you will. Like, at the end of the day, the only thing that the detractor community has to do is not slip and fuck up, essentially. Outside of that, DSP's still losing. I don't know. I guess from a gaming standpoint, because the guy was a fucking moron and played a shitload of games and bashed everybody, I guess. But see, here's the thing, though, too. Let's think about this for a minute. From a conscientious level, right? On that plane of self-realization to some degree, Darkside Phil understands what kind of negative piece of shit he is. Hence the reason why going on this podcast with a bunch of people that he's not familiar with wouldn't have been a go. That wouldn't have been a good look for him. Not at all. That would have only set him up for failure. At least if I was him, that's what I'd have thought. So it's a good thing that he didn't do that. That would not have been the play. That would have not have been the move. So make of that what you will.
Michael Jackson is. They just don't buy Michael Jackson albums anymore.
And you definitely lying to yourself with that shit. But I think I said this when I went over the Mighty D video, that Michael people have always bought Michael Jackson albums, vinyls, so on and so forth. They'll keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? While he was alive, during the trial, and certainly with his death, so on and so forth. So you trying to devalue Michael Jackson to put yourself on some type of plane of recognition is kind of wild, because doesn't Darkside Phil take advantage of people like that too? Oh well, let's not worry about that. Crazy, yo, crazy.
The Michael that's a first. I haven't heard of that one, but
but like toward the end of Michael Jackson's life, he wasn't selling like he was when he was, younger.
Yeah, but again, that comes from a consistency over time. How, like, the world changed and he tried to change with it. And that doesn't mean no one stays on top for fucking ever, dude. Keemstar, or not Keemstar. Sorry, I mean Keemstar doesn't really pull the views that he used to either. But whatever. In his most notorious days, if you will. But look at PewDiePie. PewDiePie is the most subscribed person on YouTube, right? Period, hands down. I think, because I don't think T-Series ever took him over. But he don't pull in. Is he literally doing 1-for-1? For the amount of, as it pertains to viewers and subs? No. And arguably, he doesn't pull the numbers that he did back in his earlier days and shit, even though he's much bigger now than he was back then. Arguably. There's obviously outliers to that. But so what? So you trying to sit there and say that, because Michael Jackson doesn't have the sales that he once did, that devalues him in almost some type of way makes sense. Yes, everybody knows him, but why would you consider going out and buying an album, a CD, or a vinyl or whatever of an artist that you already own? What sense does that make? Like, you know what I'm saying? So if you're trying to equate yourself to something like that, let's go and play this game. So, Wings, what value do I have in watching your video more than 2 or 3 times if it's always going to be there and I've always seen it? Now, granted, nostalgia, years and years later, I may want to do that. So is that what he's trying to say? If that's the case, I can kind of relate to that, or I can understand that a little more. But I mean, that can be said for anybody. Is Michael Jackson is Michael Jordan pushing as much as pushing the same amount of product that he was pushing while he was playing? The Jordan brand has grown, though. I think about the Jordan brand has grown. Shit, like Jordan, like the actual Jordan brand itself was crazy when like Roy Jones used to actually fight. So it made a lot of money off that, and FUBU was still a thing at that time. You don't even hear about FUBU now. So anyway, it's debatable, but I wouldn't agree with his statement, not completely.
You're not comparing yourself to Michael. You're just the analogy I get is like you're saying that people know who you are, but you're not having the same people watch you. I get
the same success. Yeah,
the same.
It's like I like Phil. And Phil's actually like Phil get panned because he's bad at Dark Souls. He's actually pretty good at Dark Souls.
He's bad at everything. Like, Jesus Christ, he's playing the damn thing enough times that he should be good at it, and yet he still isn't. Defiant Sniff. Defiant Sniff.
Me at Dark Souls, I suck dick.
I mean, like if you've ever went to Twitch and put in Dark Souls and clicked any blind Let's Play on Twitch, Darkseid feels a god compared to those people.
Oh God, if you watch me, it would be the most. They would be making "This Is How You Don't" plays about me.
But like people look at Phil with a more critical eye.
Well, he is actually, in some ways, he puts out. He doesn't like. Oh, Rich wants to talk about my personal stuff. I'm like, well, first off, Phil, I'll say this again. I tried to contact you on Twitter. I didn't know your phone number. I didn't even know how the hell to even get your email. And I gave him bits, seeing if he wanted to come in the podcast.
All that. I mean, if you don't want to go to QE Farms, you can Google all that. Like that's literally a few keystrokes away.
Yes, because I did try to contact him on Twitter. I didn't get. If he said no on Twitter, okay, I would have never bothered him again. It wasn't that I was trying to make a fucking spectacle of it. I was like, okay, now I know this is one way I could get his attention because I tried other ways.
Yeah, you wouldn't have got his attention on Twitter. Phil's Twitter is really disingenuous.
So I didn't know how else to get him, except
because he's one of those people that uses Twitter as like an advertising platform. Like every post he puts isn't there's nothing authentic about his posts,
which is probably smart because then he would get people going after him all day.
Right, but like he has to be there because he's got to be guarded because all the times he's been fucked. I remember one time people pretended to be like a what are those things called? Back in the day, like Machinima was one of them, and like you'd had like full screen. What were those called? MMCs?
Yeah, multi-channel networks. Yeah,
multi-channel networks. Well, people pretended to be one of these multi-channel networks that would get like these "This Is How You Don't" plays off YouTube, and he left. I think it was Maker,
or I think it was,
he left Curse. He left Curse to go to Leveria Media, but he wasn't actually going to Leveria. He was going to Fotabi, which is like a subsidiary, if you will. But no, he didn't leave Maker because he wouldn't have left that deal. Well, first off, Maker would have never picked his ass up, but he would have never left that deal. If he got on Maker, you stay there. That's a lifer type situation.
Machinima for a long time. I think
he was with Machinima for a long time. Yeah. He left Machinima to join these guys, and they're like, "Aha, I got you!" And now he's got no contract.
That didn't happen either. He got fired from Machinima, and then he asked his audience to find him a new MCN, and Curse ended up being the place that they found.
So now he has to take a worse deal with Maker, I think.
I don't even know who he's with now. I know
now he's lost 20 or 30 extra % of his YouTube revenue.
His YouTube channel's dead now. He barely uploads to it anymore. I know.
Right. But at the time, that was his main source of income.
Okay, I might defend Rich on this a little bit. He doesn't upload to it with the frequency that he used to. He still uploads to it regularly. It's just he makes longer videos. But he's fucked himself so far in the algorithm, and he's just, you know what I'm saying, like the detractor content beats him out at all sides that he just can't win. That's his own fault though.
Like he went from like because our machinima deals were stellar. We had like 90-10s, right? And then like a maker deal for like a channel that just
machinima had 90-10s. Oh, I do know that because, like I said, that was in the Mighty D video. Wait, 90-10. See, well, it doesn't matter. We know Phil's lying about his income. So are you sure, Wings? Because I know Curse had a 90-10 split too. If that was the case, then how the fuck is Darkside Phil's income being cut by a third and then by half, and he was still on Machinima? Because then, if that's the case, then how much money was this asshole really making? Which goes back to the original theory that myself and G Money had. Phil was making way more. Phil's making way more money than he said. I mean, we already knew that. It means a lying piece of shit anyway. But he's probably making even more money than I'm assuming now. Interesting. I'm gonna have to run that by some people first, but interesting. Well, that's something to look. That'll be something for the Fight Club channel. That'll be something nice to deep dive into.
Maker to be their multi-channel network is like 60-40.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and like he went from a 90-10 to a 60-40 because somebody fucked with him. And it's like you got to be guarded.
But yet again,
that.
he wasn't on Maker and sorry. I think I'm pretty confident actually that Curse was a 90-10 split too. So either, but then again, Wings is already all over the place because he keeps throwing out Maker and he said this and he said that. So even he doesn't have it all locked down. So I guess I should really take all this with a grain of salt to some degree. Salt.
Yeah.
And like I recently got catfished for like 3 fucking months.
You got catfished. Explain
by
that
control. I when I created my YouTube account, I used the same handle on everything. Like, so my YouTube account was Wings of Redemption. My dating account was Wings of Redemption. Everything was Wings of Redemption.
Think about that. When he made his YouTube account, everything else that he made was also linked to Wings of Redemption. You want to know why? Because that boosts up his ego. Tell me that now, for any of you guys who are still on the fence about that Darkside Phil WWE Champions thing, and I can understand why you guys will still be hesitant about that shit. Who the fuck is going to pick They Call Me DSP outside of DSP? Like, who's going to legit want to do that? And he's had the account and the account has existed for years, and Darkside Phil never said nothing about it? Darkside Phil had a fucking fit when someone tried to actually go and claim the trademark for his name, because he had the trademark for DSPGAMING as well as Darkside Phil. He had a fit when someone tried to go and get that. Actually, they had it for a while until it expired, and then Phil was able to get it back. Just throwing it out there.
Years ago, because I started my dating profile when I was 19. I'm 34 next month, right? So like my dating profile is old. So like they're able to find my Plenty of Fish account, and I had somebody pretend to be interested in me to try to get information on like my diet and things like that.
Stop it. Okay, continue.
I'm not fucking with you. Not fucking with you at all.
Wow. So what ended up happening? You got catfish, you said. So you kept talking to this person?
Well, I ended up getting into a relationship with this other girl, and this other girl ended up getting diagnosed with cancer, and they thought at the same time I was that I was cheating on her.
So wait. So you had a dating account open since you were 19. You ended up getting catfished by some chick. You're in a relationship with some chick from Plenty of Fish or whatever dating site he's using. You're messing with that. Then you have another chick on the back burner that you also fucking with, or you also messing with, I should say, or talking to, or whatever the case may be. Like, and then keep in mind, he said he'd had his dating account since he was 19, but he had what, 2 or 3 different women in his life around those periods that actually came to live with him. What? Went Wings running around here thinking he a real pimp. Ain't that funny? Pimping that chili. I want cheese and sour cream on that shit too.
With this catfish, which I wasn't. Like I was like already in my head, like, all right, this catfish is going nowhere. because like they would never like talk on the phone. They would never like message anywhere. Like we've been talking for like 3 months, and you won't give me your Facebook. Like whatever. And like, so eventually they came out that they're catfish, and that I shouldn't feed my cats as much as I feed them and shit like that.
Wow.
And it was the same. It's the same dude. The same dude. Like I don't know his name, like his actual name, but he goes by Edmonton Skeptic on Reddit, and he goes by Matthew Otwell everywhere else. He's been sending hate messages since 2014. Like he would. I remember I used to have my personal Facebook public, and he would go through and tell every girl on my personal Facebook that they're fat, and he would link a 3-hour live stream. You know. And he wouldn't give a specific time. He'd just link a 3-hour live stream. And nobody that doesn't in the know is going to look through 3-hour video and find out where I called them fat at. Right? They're just going to take it at face value and delete me. And like I lost a lot of friends that way until I took my Facebook private.
Wow, that's some interesting. So someone, okay, yeah, that's pretty 4D chess that they're doing. All right, they're like, oh, Wings called or Jordan called you fat here. Here's the video. Here's proof. They're not going to look through it because it's so long. They're just going to take it and say, yeah, he did, and I'm pissed now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's amazing how dedicated some of these people are.
It's the same dude. He came from Boogie.
Came from Boogie. How do you know that?
Because he's told me that.
Oh, he told you that. Okay.
He's told me that. He came from Boogie in like 2014. Like when Boogie shouted me out during, it was maybe into 2013, FPS Boot Camp, October 2013. And like he's fucked with me ever since. Like he's one of those educated, motivated missiles that is always guided towards me. Like he tries everything in his power. He's done the catfishing, he's done the Facebook stalking, he's he runs a subreddit right now dedicated to hating on me. I'm sure he probably has a Discord as well.
It's amazing how much time these people have. It's pretty incredible.
Like one of my original detractors, I'm gonna use the Phil word here, was from you.
From me?
The Big Cheese.
Oh, stop! Really?
Yeah.
They're all.
He renamed himself the Lord of the Wings. And like wait,
what is that true? Like I said, I don't have all the lore, so holy shit, for real? Damn, dude. So Rich ain't sat there and theoretically one could say that got Monday Matt fucking doxxed, and damn, and you ain't brought another troll on the wings. Holy shit, bruh. Yikes. It's like the gout. It's being spread everywhere. Under the cover of darkness, I am the gout.
Basically, Kiwi Farms got involved, and they figured out Lord of the Wings was the Big Cheese.
Just give me my 200.
Give me my 200. Yeah, him.
It's because I know why. Because I started ignoring him. He got bored. That's exactly what fucking happened. I ignored him. Everything he sent to me, I ignored, and he got bored, so he moved on to you. See what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
You ignore him, they get bored. Now watch, because I fucking talked about him. All of a sudden, I'm going to see just give me my 200 come back. But you get my point.
I doubt it, because like people like Kiwi Farms found like him rapping for like local car companies and stuff like that, and like it all poured out there.
What?
Yeah, there's videos of him like rapping, like making a rap song for like a local like buy here, pay here lot.
The actual guy?
The actual guy, yeah.
You need to send me that video. You need to send me a fucking link to that.
I had to go back and find it. He's like a 300-pound black guy.
I gotta let that sink in. That son of a bitch was up my ass for like Stop it. You have to. What the fuck? I was almost going to end this podcast about a couple minutes ago. That was like, this is like.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to my like lolcow thread on Kiwi Farms, you'll find it. It's on there.
Dude, you got to send it to me later. You have to. That's incredible.
I can send you the thread link. You just got to go back through it.
Yeah, I'll go through it. That's fine. You don't have to do the work for me. Just send me the thread link. All right, man. That would a hell of a way to end it. You just
like I was like, wow, like, dude, you're big too, and you're sitting here making fun of me.
Oh, that's why he won't come back and troll, because I could just find out he was rapping for a car company or a car lot.
It was like, it wasn't even a good one. It wasn't like a Ford dealership. It was like one of those buy here, pay here lots.
Oh, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. How many years of hell he gave me, and now he gets exposed. He gets exposed on the Exposed podcast. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, man. Dude, this was good. This was a nice, healthy, balanced podcast. Thank you for coming on. You know,
I wish I was better. I feel like I did terrible, but
no, what the
it
hell
is
are you
what it
talking
is.
about? No, you came on. I asked questions. You did your thing, and I appreciate it, man. I think it's a good step forward for you. And like I'm telling you, dude, from a guy who did it all the time, don't feed the trolls. The extra $12,000 a month you get isn't worth it. Do an OnlyFans where you're.
Well, I wish it was $12,000 a month, but it's
$12,000 a year. $12,000. You get my point. Do an
$12,000 a month. I'd actually have that Ford Raptor.
Do an OnlyFans. I'll show my man titties off with you. We'll do that. That's how you can make it. So, all right,
That's pretty hairy now.
that'd be pretty frightening too. But anyway, guys, this is episode 11 with Wings of Redemption. Thank you so much for coming on, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Exposed. You're exposed. You're exposed. You are exposed. Exposed, 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 exposed. You are exposed, sir. I'm going to expose you. Expose you. Oh my God, expose you. Exposed. 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 Exposed.
Well, that's interesting. I'll give him that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, give me a second to square up, and we'll reconvene for final thoughts, and that'll be into that. I don't know what these guys' deal is with antagonizing old enemies. No one ever gives up the game. You know what I'm saying? They may put it on hold, they may pass it to somebody else, but no one ever gives the game up. Oh boy. All right, guys, I'll see you in a minute. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Well, that was an interesting set of circumstances to say the very least. I guess thanks to Rich and for doing the podcast, and thanks to Wings for being man enough to show up. A lot of stuff that don't sound very right. A lot of stuff that I didn't know that hit at the very end. Let's hope that don't come back on Rich in any type of way, shape, or form, because like I said, nobody gives the game up. You know what I'm saying? They may get sidelined with an injury. They may decide to go into early retirement, whatever the case may be, but no one leaves the game. So, well, let's hope that doesn't turn into a thing. What are my general thoughts? I think as it pertains to Wings and his overall existence, it's yet again, it's someone who couldn't change with the times. He was too narrow-minded and only worried about what was in front of him. He didn't prepare properly, obviously. Like, you know, he made a lot of moves, a lot of bad moves in quick succession. It comes back down to him being complacent, being lazy. It's a shame, to be honest with you, because there's no reason why he's not spoken about with the upper echelon of Call of Duty YouTubers right now. There's no reason why for that. There's no reason why he's not doing or he's not posting Rainbow Six Siege on his channel and being considered, at least for the console, one of the foremost people who play. There's no reason why he shouldn't have that. There's no reason why for a lot of things, to be honest. It's a shame, especially all those years that he played Rainbow. I don't think he posted any of those videos or any of those how-tos or any of those things. He could, even though his gunplay is lacking, I think he does have a decent amount of information for anybody who could start up, and that has replay value. and then him going through the different operators and so on and so forth, he squandered a lot of that. Not to say that he couldn't do it, but there's a lot of people out there who've already done it really well. But the thing is about Wings is people will come and watch Wings, fuck up or not. Look at Wings, when you look at the troll channels for Wings, right? Those people pull in numbers. You know what I'm saying? And that's daily. That's daily. No one can ignore that. That's why that's why there's so many Wing channels. And even with that, I wouldn't call it oversaturation, but even with that many people, people still watch. You know what I'm saying? You can have the same stream be cut up 3 different ways by 3 different trolls, and they're all going to catch views. There's something to think about. I don't know. It was all right for what it was. I don't know if I'm not going to go out and say it was overly interesting or anything. There's the DSP aspect. There's a lot that neither one of them guys there's a lot that Richard or Wings don't know about. There's a lot of discrepancies there. Some of the stuff with his own history, he must have walked back at least a handful of lies, at the very least. So he might want to square that up. That wasn't a good look, to be honest. And one could say that he misremembered, but he was right back on it when he picked it all up. So I don't know. It is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. And catch you guys for the next one of these as we work through the list. What's next? I don't know. Actually, I don't have the full. I don't really know what's next. To be honest, I don't have the full list here. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I don't know. I apologize. I don't know really what's next. Like I said, I know for sure there's still the Spoonie 1 video, but I'm still looking for something for that. And I really can't do it without it unless I go to my backup plan, and I really want to go with the initial. So we'll see. I don't know if the 341 has been posted at this point. I don't know. So I guess we're like 2 or 3 videos out on top of his current Darkside Phil's current situation, which might be posted after I do the channel update. So I'm not sure how that's going to play out yet. But we're probably like 2 videos out before we go on break. So we'll try to, like I said, we'll try to keep everything motivated. Like I said, if I find everything I need for the Spoonie video, then we're good. If not, then I guess I could go to the backup, but I'd like to find what I initially wanted to go for. We'll see. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you guys for the next one, whenever that may be, hopefully sooner than later. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snort Report, and this is DSP News, always late, never breaking, or pseudo Snort Report, always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh yes, a GTG Network and Productions for Tim Snortons. I've been your host / anchor GTG, and I'm signing off. Everybody, by the way, you go ahead and get yourself a free Jasper Turkey Bacon Club. And go ahead and get yourself a Big Berry Latte to go ahead and finish that off. I think that's a good look. Yeah. Or you guys can get yourself a salted Cheeto. Everything on the menu on the way out, guys, is free. It's all on me, except for that pay pig surprise at the bottom. We're not doing that. Take care of yourselves, guys. I'll see you later. Oh my God.